ITV was running the Scottish Champion Hurdle. That's how things changed for them. But no, funny enough, in the last race it was really, really warm, but there's a really nice breeze down here, and the horses are loving it. It's much more settled.
Willie Mullins' adage is fail to prepare to fail, and if you don't miss the first time, try again. 7-4 favourite last year in this Edinburgh Diamond. I've seen 7-2, that's been taken, and it's back into 130 generally along the rails. French Duke 9-2. Hand of God was as big as 17-2 and 7-1. Now generally along the rails 6-1 Hand of God, and basically it's double figure prices the rest.
That's reflected on the exchanges. Ryan Moore's won this race 5 times, and he's on Ethical Diamond here. He's very strong. The big drifter is Almashir. Almashir was 8.4, 10.0, now 10.5. Continues to slide in the market, Almashir.
But that's interesting, Almashir drifting. I quite fancied him on paper after that good win at York last time. We heard from Luke down at the start that he's a little bit of a handful. He's still a colt, the son of See the Stars. Good looking type. He's drawn in wide, and we saw yesterday over the 1.5 miles, so that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it isn't. And often in these races we see horses coming from sort of mid to rear. So it'd be interesting to see if that is the case again. Ethical Diamond was drawn wide last year and ran 2-3. He's in 7 this time, and as Ruby was saying, that should allow him better cover to relax, but he's just in your hand the whole way, and it's a stiff 1.5 miles round here. You can't afford to over race too much.
Jason's just put 6 fingers up to me suggesting we'll talk about Nakib and the old friend Nakib.
He's a wonderful old horse, isn't he? And he should be stripping fit now after a couple of runs. He travelled so well when we saw him last time from 11. I hope if they go really quick he'll just drop the bridle. He's better than where he sits at the moment. He could run a place.
Yeah, so he's one of the nice tasty odds, but just to confirm, Ethical Diamond, the favourite, 3-1. French Duke, Jason's initial selection, 4-1. Hand of God, he's there at a 5-1 third favourite. Almosha, weak in the market. Not that many left to load. That looks like Satin going forward for the Jesse Harrington stable, and they are locked and loaded, ready to go. Richard Hoyles.
Duke of Edinburgh Stakes over 1.5 miles on the round course, and the field leave the stalls. A little awkward into stride was Bradure, whose rider had a glance behind as well, and Old Toon a little bit slow into stride. Satin is one of the first to go on, in company as well with Blue Lemons as they race through the early stages. Hand of God is in a handy position, just being followed through by Mutawid in the blue and white colours. HMS President comes next. Keen on the run downhill, Ethical Diamond in the pale colours. He was a bit free last year. He's just fighting Ryan Moore early. Old Toon responded to the rider's urgings to move up with Siege of Troy on that one's outside. Then Mount Atlas, who races on the outer of War Rooms as they prepare to take the turn. Just behind those is Almosha, who was settled in from the wide gate with French Duke Timusius Fox. Brajure's got past a few. They include Stress Free, Max Mayhem and Flight Leader, and they're stringing out here on the descent as out in the lead Satin sets a decent gallop by a length from in second Blue Lemons as they turn and make their way back towards the bottom of Swinley. Then behind these in third place in the blue and white colours Mutawid. In fourth is Hand of God with HMS President and Nakib. Ethical Diamond just worse than midfield with Old Toon on the inside, and then Siege of Troy on the outer. The orange cap belongs to War Rooms, then Almosha's noseband with Mount Atlas. Timusius Fox as the pace just begins to steady slightly. A couple of shuffle just back in the field there, including the red cap of French Duke, and then Flight Leader and Stress Free. So they're now on the climb up and racing inside the final 5. It's Satin trying to get a breather in. Leads from Blue Lemons. Mutawid races in third place. Fourth belongs to HMS President. Hand of God with the head slight to one side, just ahead of the black and white of Nakib. Ethical Diamond Pale Jacket behind Siege of Troy as they prepare to try and manoeuvre out as they'll take the turn. Progress being made up on the outside by Almoshaher, and then Mount Atlas as they turn for home. Satin leads by half a length. Blue Lemons in second. In third and poised is Mutawid as they hear the bell. Hand of God comes next from HMS President. Behind these, the black and white colours of Nakib. Siege of Troy. Ethical Diamond now tries to angle out, just hanging slightly, move towards the outside in the pale colours. HMS President comes next. Blue Lemons took over from Mutawid. Hand of God, Siege of Troy. Ethical Diamond on the outside in the white jacket. He's making good ground up the centre. Nakib from Mutawid. Ethical Diamond on the outside begins to bear down on the pair of them, and it's Ethical Diamond who moves to the lead in the Duke of Edinburgh. Out in front by just over a length and a half from Mutawid and Nakib, but Ethical Diamond wins for Ryan Moore and Willie Mullins. Mount Atlas just ahead of, in 5th place, Siege of Troy, and then behind those in 6th place was War Rooms. Ryan Moore fought Ethical Diamond down the hill, allowed him to drift back and filled the tank sufficiently to win. 6th winner of the week for him. Willie Mullins, another handicap winner at the Royal Meeting for the HOS Syndicate. Ethical Diamond it is who came home in front. Mutawid and Nakib were never far away. 4th place is going to go to Siege of Troy ahead of Mount Atlas, Hand of God, and then the rest. So Ethical Diamond puts right the wrong from last year when was very keen from an outside gate. This time got some cover and a good ride. And very poignantly, the horse by Ortad. The horse, of course, was trained by the late Paddy Prendergast, who died this morning. So Ethical Diamond for Ryan Moore and Willie Mullins.
Yeah, well said, Richard. Very appropriate indeed. A year in the planning. This year, Meg, he delivered big time.
He did, and I think the draw made all the difference. He's managed to get a lot of cover, sat sort of halfway. Ryan was in no rush. I think it was most important to get this horse into a rhythm, but he did. And when he switched into the straight, he looked for that clean run down the outside of the field, which he got, and he's picked up really nicely.
Always amazes me, you know, you see certain horses for certain trainers and you think, oh, that one keep going, you know, they can't lean onto their rider as much as some of Willie's do, but they keep on going, don't they? Just remarkable change of gear. 4th last year, 4th in the county hurdle, £2 better. Have a bit of that, Willie.
He went very well fancy to the Cheltenham Festival. That's the view from Stress Free. Ryan Moore, 6th on the week. Pretty confident he's going to be champion jockey at Royal Ascot 2025 again. These lucky owners, they own Absurd as well, who must have given them so much fun in Australia, at Plumpton, at home. Well done, the Mullins. What a day for them. In the royal procession, Jackie presenting the Albany Trophy, and now they've gone and won the Duke of Edinburgh with this horse under Ryan Moore.
A 6th win in the race for Ryan Moore, a 91st Royal Ascot winner, which is quite extraordinary. Ryan, I missed you yesterday, so I came back today. Well done.
Thanks, Matt. He won easy. He began well, I was in a nice spot, and then they crossed over and put us in between hills. He was in a tight spot, and he just picked up the bridle a bit more than I liked, and the pace slap, and he travelled really well. When I pulled him out, he quickened up, didn't do a whole lot in front, and he won despite me nearly making a mess of it.
Obviously the horse was just a little bit higher in the handicap this year than last year, but he's been doing really well jumping. Did he feel a bit of a stronger horse over this distance on the flat? Because he weakened last year.
Last year he was drawn wide, and it was a good race. Horse at Beaton was good, and David O'Meara's horse has been running in group races. He was placed. Last year was probably a stronger race than this one.
Congratulations, well done. 91 not out.
Yeah, the race to 100. Aidan only needs 4. Ryan needs 9, and then there's one more Group 1 to hit 150, and that might be coming up very shortly. Willie Mullins on the left there. He can just win anywhere. Well backed, Ethical Diamond wins at 3-1. David Casey, a big part of the team. Another man who's a big part of the team is in our analysis truck. He'll be looking back through the race. I think he'll enjoy it this time in his air-conditioned analysis hub. And that's Emery, I think, leading up the winner on the left. Some people, when you look at the steppings there, I just wonder whether some people thought it's too hot and just haven't come today. It just feels strangely subdued. Is that fair?
It does. It is strange because, like you said, with the carriages, there wasn't much of a reception, despite there being quite a lot of people here to see the royal procession. And then each winner that we've had today, we've had to start the clapping, as Jason has just done here behind us. And it's not as if they're big. Well, we had a bit of an outsider winning our last race, but this one was well backed. There should be plenty of people cheering him in.
Do you know what I like about Willie Mullins? He's trained so many winners all over, and that lovely little shot of him on the steps, and he looked at somebody and he went, wow. Yeah. Right? He said it himself. It's so cool, so cool. The way, you know, still has that thrill and that passion for it, and that drive. That's wonderful to see.
And he's absolute class as well in everything he does. Bruff Scott always says he's so successful you want to not like him, but you can't. It's impossible not to like him. And when Constitution Hill came down at Aintree, you might have seen it. He's not even looking at his own horses. His binoculars are on Constitution Hill to see see that he's all right. The class of the man.
He is, isn't he? He's a phenomenal trainer, both jumps, flat, internationally. It doesn't matter. And Jason, as you were saying, these horses of Willie's, they can be keen and keep finding, or they can come off the bridle early but keep finding for pressure as well. They're so fit. They're such elite racehorses that Willie has, but he has them at their peak every time.
And it's a touch, isn't it? It's a touch and a feel and a wonderful connection with the thoroughbred, that he sees something that we can only dream of, Ruby.
Well, normal service resumes at Ascot. Willie Mullins with a winner. Thank goodness for that. He was in the Royal Procession. Well, that's been a theme.
Mm-hmm. Lady Bamford has a runner today, and she was in the Royal Procession as well.
So we've had Haggis yesterday, Procession. Mullins today and Lady Bamford, so who knows? If you're looking for roundabout ways of finding a winner, we've got the means. Welcome back, Pete Bonatell from In the Money Media, to look ahead to the rest of the day, to have a review of what we've just seen. Pete, how's things? Welcome.
Oh, welcome to you. It is so good to be here, and that was fun to see. Willie Mullins helping give out the trophy in race 1, accepting a trophy in race 3.
I wanted to just ask about attire here. We've talked lots about hat. Now, your hat is a slightly unique topper.
Not slightly.
It's completely unique.
There's no such thing as slightly unique.
Who made this?
My friend Christine Moore. I'd love to give her a plug on here. This was
Cam Hats.
Cam Hats, exactly. So I came here the first year, and I think she must have seen me on the coverage, and she said, Pete, it looks like you're wearing a magician's top hat from a child's birthday party. Let me take care of that. And take care of it she did. She gave me this, which reminds me of the one Tom Petty wore in the Don't Come Around Here No More video.
It's a little more steampunk.
Yeah, I kind of like the angles, and I'm just very grateful to have a milliner that great take such an interest in me, even if it came with a dig.
Is it warm?
I mean, aren't they all warm?
They are, but that looks, I don't know why it looks warmer.
It's not that bad, actually. The material, whatever it is, I mean, I don't think it's worse than your average top hat on the day. Would I be wearing it if we weren't at Royal Ascot? No, I would not. I would be in a t-shirt and shorts at the pool.
You wouldn't wear that to Del Mar opening day?
Maybe on a bet.
Raiders Cup?
Pete did not expect to be questioned on fashion. But I'll question you on this race. It was never really in doubt, was it? Ryan Moore is seemingly in the perfect spot. And, by the way, on the best treated horse in the race. He's won easy.
Yeah, what a perfect trip that was. And once the run was produced, it was really, it was over from there. Really impressive run there from Ethical Diamond.
Ethical Diamond was 4th in this last year and has gained 2 pounds since. Disappointed in the last 2 starts over hurdles.
Yeah, but look, this is what Willie Mullins does. He mixes it up. He's keen to try different things. He'll have had this race in mind on the way out. You know, he's got a good record in all of these handicaps. And I think Ryan, you know, he went the right way there. He kept the horse out of trouble, went wide, down a little bit more towards the centre. I think Nakeeb's run a really good race, travelled really well, and then he's a little bit more over towards the rail. Look, he's...
A Hand of God was disappointing.
I didn't really find, did it? It ran okay.
Ran okay till, there. Topped out a little bit.
Those that were right off it, though, that would, I talked about wide jaws not being too bad, but they got to go harder than that. And those that were right off it just couldn't quite get involved.
That sounds like a perfect description of a race where the favourite just had too much. And yeah, we've seen that in these handicaps, the going from jumps to flat, and there must be something in the way the marks are calculated too. It seems to really be an edge, I would say, over the years.
Just to say on Willie Mullins, we don't talk about jumps racing too often at Royal Ascot, but he won the UK Jumps Trainers Championship. To put that into perspective, he's an Irishman, but he's just that good.
Well, I'm down here in the pre-paddock with the rookie Irish trainer, nearly 100 Royal Ascot. We're getting there. Aidan O'Brien, you've had 5 already this week. How are your energy levels?
Good, Jane, very good. It's a good week, beautiful weather. And
what time in the morning do you start?
About 3:30. Yeah.
Lovely.
So yeah.
So you take a nap?
Yes. No. Listen, we get to obviously get the work done before we come over here, so it's perfect. Get to see all the horses out. So yeah. So no, it works great, really.
Okay. Well, the week is going well. The naps are paying off.
Yeah.
We have 2 runners here in the Coronation Stakes, the fillies. How's that going to work out?
Yeah, good. The fillies are well. Obviously, Wayne rides exactly. I'd imagine he'll go forward with her. She's straightforward. She had a very good run in the French Guineas. Ryan was very happy with her earlier that day, and he thought maybe the interference cost him more than anybody else. He just felt that the filly in front of him, he was getting ready to challenge, and she just kind of kept coming left on him. He never got to challenge properly. So she's in good form since, so we think she has came forward since. And then Ryan's filly, we were going to run her in the French Oaks, and Ryan asked would we wait and keep her for this. So Ryan rode her in the Fillies Mile last year, and he was very happy with her. He felt he got there a little bit early on her, and she had a run in the Irish Guineas as a prep for either the French Oaks or obviously here. So that's how it happened that Ryan is riding her. So she's a big classy filly, he thought. So it will be interesting.
So she'll be playing her cards late, and Exactly will be keeping them honest.
I think Exactly will be forward, and Ryan will be probably taking his time. But that's what you'd think. But obviously, as you know, when the gates open, it could all change.
Well, fortunately, you have two very able pilots. When the gates open, they'll adapt as the race progresses. 3-time winner of the Coronation Stakes, that's Aidan O'Brien. Let's see if he can make it 4.
Well, the UK may be enjoying a mini heat wave at the moment, but look at the track, the conditions out there, perfect grass. The guys responsible for the going, the course, Chris Stickles, clerk of the course, has done an amazing job to create the perfect racing conditions out there. And what an amazing view we've got here. I've come to the summer house, and this is the view that you get if you're in the summer house. And Fern McCann joins me now. Fern, a British reality star, having a lovely day here at Royal Ascot.
Oh, it's such an amazing day. It's just such a brilliant atmosphere, and believe me, I've been here when it has been absolutely pouring it down with rain. This is my 5th time at Royal Ascot, so it's just incredible that it's beautiful sunshine. Everyone's in high spirits and having a really good time.
It's actually quite nice for the girls because you can wear some beautiful summer dresses. Tell me a little bit about your outfit.
So I've been so excited for this look. I'm having a VB moment. I feel like Victoria Beckham has been everyone's fashion inspo at one time in their life. So I just love her clean, elegant lines and the tulip sleeve and the exposed seam. I'm teaming high end with High Street with a Zara wedge. My feet and toes are going to be very happy at the end of the day now that the wedge style is back in fashion. And then I have got a Stone and Mason rose quartz bag. And then of course we have to talk about the headpiece. It's just iconic when you come to Royal Ascot. You have to have a hat or a fascinator, and I'm wearing Vivienne Sharif, and it's one of her classic signature styles.
And are you having a successful day in terms of backing any winners?
Absolutely not. I go for like the name or the colour of the shirt. So I went with Awaken. Felt like it was spiritual and fitting with where I was at my life. But no, I should have put it on for each way. Didn't win, but better luck next time.
Well, enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, you too.
Welcome back to the pre-paddock. I'm keen for you guys to get a look at the favourite Zarigana, but as I say that, I kid you not, the trainers just closed the door. So stay with me, come back to me. We're going to look at some other horses in the preliminaries as they come towards me. I can tell you that the second filly, not the Chestnut filly, is about to be saddled, but the Dark Bay filly walking towards us. That is Simmering, a twice a winner. Cheek pieces on for the first time. She won here last year as a juvenile. She's trained by Ollie Sangster. She's owned by the Qatari entity Al Shakab Racing, and she will be ridden by the Irishman Dylan Brown McMonigal. Just behind that one is Flight, the other Ollie Sangster trained filly. She's a Chestnut Siuni. She was placed in the Newmarket Guineas, but she disappointed in Ireland. She needs to bounce back. Now, I'm going to be tested here. We're going to skip a few of these. We're going to go back to the black filly. We come out of Francesca Comani's way here. Come back to the black filly. This is Duty First, who won the Fred Darling for Holly Doyle and Archie Watson. She disappointed in Ireland when she was 4th to Lake Victoria, but she's a beautiful looking specimen. And look how relaxed she is. Those fluffy cheek pieces on her reins, we're going to go onto the side of her bridle. They'll go on for the first time. So while Zarigana is getting prepped, and I'm going to get a glass of water, we'll head to the ring and we'll catch the favourite there.
We will get Zarigana, the beauty of it, that he closes the door. He does that a lot, Francis Graffa. We talk about trainers being creatures of habit.
If I was out there, I would have thought it would have been personal.
Yeah, they're looking. But he does that a lot. He did it with his Derby runner, I know that. I think he does it quite regularly. Just close doors, saddle them. And they need an upturn to the meeting. They actually had a horse run really well, run 3rd in our opening race. But We want a French winner at Royal Ascot. We do. It's good for the meeting.
It's good for the meeting to see the international participation. I'm excited to see Japan maybe get on the board tomorrow. The USA have acquitted themselves well, all in all, but that's one of the things that's great about this. It's a proper Olympic feel.
Who do you like here, Michelle? You talk positively about the French filly.
Yes, I like Zaragana in here. I thought that she's the granddaughter of Zarkava, who I was a big fan of. I mean, her record overall speaks for itself. Earlier on in the show, we did watch her effort in the French Guineas, where she certainly deserved to be put up. And she's quirky, though. She's quirky. So to me, I want to watch her in the preliminaries. I want to see her on the track, and everything's going to have to go right mentally for her.
I don't think she's an easy ride per se. She's had some turnovers, if you like, at the back end of last year at Longchamp in the big fillies race. To the Prix Marcel Boussac, she was disappointing because she was expected she was going to go and win. Francis Graffel run it with his second string, and I think she was still a touch disappointing in the French Guineas when she won, because she was expected to go and dominate, and I think it was right she got the race, but she's clearly got bundles of ability.
No doubt about it. This is the form horse in a coronation where we don't have the English or Irish Guineas winner. You're going to look to the French Guineas winner. For me, very, very interesting. Clearly should be right there at the top of the market, but feels like one we can maybe get a little cute and try to bring in something at a bit more of a price, because Zaragana, while a big contender, just the price for me.
All right, let's say, is she there, Jane? She come back out from behind closed doors.
There she is. She's out of her box. Number 11, Zaragana, your favourite. Never been out of the first 2 and 5 starts. That one time she was beaten, she was second in the Prix Marcel Boussac. Of course, she was awarded the French 1,000 guineas last time when she's interfered with. She's a granddaughter of the Arc winner, Prix de l'Arc Triomphe winner Zarikava, and she has a bit of brilliance about her, this filly, but she has a flare of temperament. She's wearing that red hood for a reason. Let's follow her pass here. She walks so easy and effortlessly. This will be the first time she'll have experience in atmosphere like this. She's tall, she's lean, she's fit for today. She is the one that most people around the paddock will be keen to get a look at. Her first time in Britain. That's your favourite. That's Zaragana.
And that is Ryan Moore, who's having a sensational meeting, Michelle.
Not only is he having a sensational meeting, but all the retired racehorses he's benefiting on as well. £25,000 they weigh.
And 30 now, so 5,000 for every winner he rides. And I feel like we say this with every race, but he's not done yet. Coronation Trophy, won by some brilliant fillies in the past, and it's the one you always look forward to with the clash of the Guineas horses, though of course we don't have the Guineas winners from Ireland and the UK today. But we got the French one.
The Group 1 Coronation Stakes for the fillies.
Oh, there's really good betting. I can tell you one punter had 7,000 at 3-1 Edinburgh Diamond in the last race, winning 21,000. He's at 8 grand on Zaragana, 13-8 from 7-4. We're talking to the bookmakers. They want to lay this filly. Falakea is at 3-1. That's disappearing, but it is available. Generally 11-4. January 7-1. Kontiki 17-2. Exactly 10-1. Chantilly Lace 14-1. Cesarn, a second Royal Ascot runner for Joe Murphy. Very, very shrewd Irish trainer. 18-1. Flight 18-1. Cathedral 25-1. A pony 33-1. Simmering, and Duty First is the outsider at 40-1. 13-8. Strong Zaragana.
Now, I might be guilty of having a bit of a fangirl moment in the paddock here, because there are a couple of fillies that I really like, and I'm excited to get up close to them. One of them is here, number 11, Zaragana. She's come into the paddock quite early here, and she's really motoring around. This is a beautifully bred individual trained by Francis Graffard. Now, she won, well, no, she didn't really win the French 1,000 guineas. She was awarded it in the steward's room after it was deemed that she'd suffered interference. The only time she has been beaten was in the Marcel Boussac at the end of last year. There's always been quite a lot of pressure on her because of how she's bred, and she runs in the colours of the late Aga Khan. She's a little bit on her toes. Look at her here. Often in France, might not be thanked for saying this, but they don't tend to get massive crowds at their race days other than the big events such as the Arc and the Prix de Diane, for example. But this could be a little bit new to her. She's a bit on her toes, not too sweaty. I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's just interesting to see how she finishes off her race, because I imagine they don't want to deliver her too early.
No, they won't want to deliver her too early, and they will be trying to switch her off as well, and that was the way they rode her in France on her last start. They went back with her. She was a little bit keen. You can see Miguel Barcelona's hands up off her neck as he was trying to get her to settle in the French Guineas, and she did eventually settle. It was an evenly run race, and then she came from the back to quicken up well. Now she gets this in the steward's room because of minor interference here in a minute's time when one drifts across into another and barely onto her. They're the French rules, so that's who has played by the rules wherever you go. And then Mikel Barcelona dropped his whip as he was getting into full flow on Zaragana. He'll be hoping he doesn't do that again today. But again, a bit like some other horses you're looking at here this week, like Shadows of Light, this filly is by Sayuni. She does have a little bit of a knee action. Some of the French horses have run disappointing here this week, and they don't often encounter ground as quick as this in France.
Well, our most intriguing runner here is Falakea, supplemented at the cost of £46,000 by the Shadwell team. Angus Gold representing Shadwell. Angus, talk me through the umming and ahhing about the different options and not being quite right, but now here.
Yes, it's been an interesting journey, Rishi. The first bit was where we're going to run her in the Oaks, and Jim just felt that her style of running, that was going to stretch her too much. So we sort of set our hearts on the Prix de Diane, the French Oaks, and then annoyingly about 10 days before she scoped a bit dirty, so she couldn't run in the Oaks even if we wanted to. So we cleared that up, and Owen worked her on the Tuesday, and she worked very, very well. Jim was delighted with her, but she just had a good blow. So we thought it was just a bit too much to go into a classic, when everybody wasn't 100% happy with her. So anyway, since then she's really turned the corner and been thriving, so they're all very happy with her, hence why we decided to supplement and come here.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with her. Angus, I hope you don't mind me asking, it's a very poignant day in the sport of horse racing. Sadly, news through today that we lost Kevin Prendergast, who of course trained a number of very good horses for Sheikh Hamdan, including Altan, who quite incredibly sired the winner of our most recent race here in Ethical Diamond.
Yeah, a very great man, Rishi, in my lifetime in racing. He's been all the time I was with Sheikh Hamdan. He was already there training for Sheikh Hamdan, who loved him. They had a great relationship. Wonderful horseman. His horses always looked immaculate. A huge character, full of stories for every occasion. Some printable, most not. But just a marvellous man. Great horseman,
knew his horses backwards, used to walk out with them every day onto the gallops and walk back with them. I struggled to keep up with him when he was 88, 89. And obviously he was a good age, he lived a great life, and I went to see him about 6 weeks ago and he was still asking questions, full of it, the whole thing, and huge enthusiasm for it. And yeah, we'll miss him enormously, but he was a great man.
Angus, thank you.
Now, the other filly I really wanted to see is Falakaya here, who runs in the Shadwell colours. I was just really blown away by her at Newmarket when she won on her second race start and her seasonal debut. And she just really stood out as a big, strong, powerful individual. But more importantly, it's the way she walks. She just got a really nice, loose, athletic way of going. And what they do with her tactically is going to be interesting because she's got a big, long stride on her when she gallops. And I think she's a little bit headstrong as well. So this is around the round course, and they won't want to get into a fight with her, I imagine. That's Jim Crowley in the saddle, so he's just going to have to work with her because I think there is a lot of ability there with her. Oh, and now we have Zaragana in behind her, but we'll just drop back and see a couple of the others that we haven't seen yet. This is number 10, Simmering, who is one of two in the field for young trainer Ollie Sangster, and she's run some really good races, including third in the 1,000 guineas at Newmarket, but she was second last in the Irish equivalent. However, that race I think was run a bit falsely in the sense that they didn't go that fast and they sprinted home, so anything that wasn't in the front, 5 or 6, really struggled to get into it. So I would forgive Simmering that performance. She has got ability. 7 is Flight. This is the stablemate, so she actually finished second in the 1,000 guineas and then 6th in the Irish equivalent, and like I said, she probably was a victim of circumstance like her stablemate. Of the two on looks, they both look great, but I'd probably pick this one, Flight. She's a big girl as well, another one that I could quite easily take home. She is lovely, this daughter of Siuni, and I think she probably represent a bit of value. However, the firmer conditions here might not really be to her liking. Cathedral, here goes for the Ammo Racing team. She's a bigger price, and I imagine they'll ride her cold at the back of the field. She could have a bit to find, but if Falakaya sets up a good tempo, those coming from the back have more chance. Shanti Lace is her stablemate from the race back at Yard. She's a big girl as well, and they've taken their time with her. She only ran once last year, and then she was 5th on her seasonal reappearance in the 1,000 guineas. So they obviously think a bit of her. She's had a little bit more time to mature, and then she reopposes some of those fillies here today. But yes, I think she's still maturing, and clearly there's plenty there that the trainer is looking to find the best of.
Well, alongside me, Princess Zara, a couple of very interesting runners today in the colours of Aga Khan studs. Let's talk first of all about Zadigana, who produced a terrific performance in the end, admittedly originally in defeat, but ultimately got the French 1,000 guineas. How do you think she'll be suited by today's test?
It's almost impossible to know. It's really difficult to tell. I think we have to count on her class, her inherent class. She's a drama queen. Every time she runs, something happens. So even at home, every time she canters, something happens. So, I just think we have to count on her inherent class, her breeding, her approach to everything. She's a filly that needs to be covered up a bit, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay, we've got Mikel Barcelona, who's got that task on his hands. Now, later in the day, Johnny Murta is going to train Zaran for you in the King Edward VII. Now, this is a horse that Johnny's spoken about very passionately, and one or two others in the media are also quite excited by him. What are you expecting from Zaran later on?
Well, he's definitely an improving horse, and as you said, his last performance was quite lovely. So I don't know him very well. He's trained in Ireland, but I'm hoping for the best.
Well, I'm hoping we all know him very well after he runs it. Best of luck with those runners, but particularly here coming up in the Coronation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Another pink one.
So January leads the parade. Behind January is Kontiki, who's 3 out of 3. Impressive in that York listed race, supplemented by Jane Chapelheim and Peter Harris. Good luck to them. Easy to spot with the white bridle. Horse number 2 is Sassy, who's 3rd in the Irish 1,000 guineas. Gary Carroll's had 2 Royal Ascot winners, running for Joseph Murphy here, looking for his first. Number Number 5, Exactly, the horse who was 4th in the French 1000. The Derby winning jockey, Wayne Lorden for Aidan O'Brien. Horse number 4 is Duty First, so impressive at Newbury. They're 9th in the 1000, 4th in Ireland. Holly Doyle and Archie Watson have won 4 Royal Ascot races together. There is Falakea. Jim Crowley for Owen Burrows. And good luck to Princess Zara, who we heard from there. Zaragana will be the 6th French winner this century, the 13th filly to win the race in total. And then horse number 10 in the Al Shakab colours, Simmering for Ollie Sangster. Lace in the Sangster dynasty. They've had so much success at this meeting. Harry Jenkins leading up Simmering will shortly let her go and make her way to the start. A couple more to come in the parade. Here's Cathedral, who I think is quite interesting actually. Was 4th against older fillies in the Chartwell at Lingfield. David Egan for Rafe Beckett, who's never won a Group 1 at the Royal Meeting. And number 3 in the Doreen Tabor colours, Chantilly Lace. Ross O'Ryan, another one for Rafe Beckett.
Yes, in the paddock, from the Princess to the P, Kenny P, the Rebel MC. Ken, what do you make of the fillies in the Coronation Stakes?
I think it's a really good renewal. I mean, you could like any of these fillies here. They look classy renewal. They look really well. But yeah, there's a couple of standouts. But yeah, very good renewal.
Who are those standouts?
I thought Falakai looked really well. She's come on since her new market from day one. Yeah, she's definitely tightened up. She looks great. But I've got to say, I was really taken by Chantilly Lace. I mean, I saw her in the Guineas. I thought she needed the run. She strengthened up. I know Rafe Beckett's not having a great time, but I'm sure she'll win a big race here today.
I backed her. I thought she wasn't suited coming down the hill at Newmarket and the Guineas and then stayed on nicely. I thought this mile here at Ascot, stiff uphill mile, will suit her.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I forget, that was only her second race in the Guineas, so she can only improve, and she's got the physique too, and she has. So I could see her running a big race, but no, I think the way the race is set up, I think Falakai's got a massive chance.
Right. Can you sing Chantilly Lace in a pretty face?
Not with my voice, Rishi.
Okay, thank God. I'm terrible at singing as well. But hopefully we're on the right one with that, and good luck with Falakea.
I hope so. Thanks a lot.
Zaragana now, you can get 6-4 in the ring. Generally though 11-8 and strong also on the exchanges. Zaragana generally 11-8. I'd take the 6-4 if you can find it. I see it in 1 or 2 boards, but it's predominantly 11-8 Zaragana.
Well, this is really a two-horse race on the exchanges and on the boards there. 11-8 Zaragana being well supported on the exchanges. The support for Falakaya into 5-2 was mirrored on the exchanges, and now just that slight drift back out to 11-4. The horse at prices being backed is Chantilly Lace, who's actually now 15-1 on the exchanges. So I'd say that 16-1 you can see on the boards there is under pressure. I spoke to Jim Crowley before racing. We discussed it on the opening show this morning, 9:30 ITV4, about how there's not an awful lot of pace here. I said to Jimmy, you're going to make the run? He said, yeah, we're going to go forward. She stays further. We're going to go forward. We're going to hope we don't get pressed and hope we can dictate the fractions. That is his plan. We'll find out in a moment if it unfolds like that.
Just had a word with Willie Mullins after his win in the last race. Ethical Diamond putting things right after it went wrong last year. He says he's going to try and do exactly the same thing with Reaching High, who had no luck, you'll remember, on Tuesday, finished on the bridle. They're going to try and do what they've done with Ethical Diamond and put that right next year with that horse. Right, should we do yes, no, maybe for the first time this week on the Coronation Stakes? I'm going to go first. I'm going to give Cathedral a yes. No. I admit backing her at 66-1. And so I've got a yes there. Francesca, number 2, Sassine.
No.
Simple as that. There's a bit of money, Jason, for Chantilly Lace. Yes, no, maybe?
Maybe.
Why?
Big run, only a second try, went 5th over in Ireland last time.
Maybe is a cop-out, which say maybe about all of them. Yes or no?
I got asked whether it was yes,
well,
no, or
maybe.
question.
Yes or no?
No.
Allowed a maybe or two.
No.
Meg, Duty First.
No.
Simple as that?
Yeah, simple as that. I think she's got to step it up an awful lot. Cheap pieces on, but they might not help enough.
Exactly.
Yes. Second string here, however, very experienced. It's a 10 start, unlucky in the French 1,000 guineas, consistent at the top level and to a bigger price.
I came here this morning thinking you might tip this horse Falakea, Jason, because what you saw at Newmarket that day, you really liked, but I sense you're worried about her being free again.
Yeah, you know, sometimes as a make and model, she can lean on the bridle. I'm sure that Owen and the team have had one of their best riders on board all the time to try and just get her to drop the bridle and relax. Now, if she's to go forward in here, you know, Chantilly Lace, Judy First, there are a few that like to go as well. It could set her alight here.
Who would get a yes from you, Ruby?
A yes from me, but I've been really impressed with Michael Barcelona going to Posted on Zaragana. She was quite keen in the paddock. He got her right on the tail of Zaragana, or of exactly. See his right hand on her with her, and he's using his left hand to hold her. And the further he went, he eventually got both his hands down on her neck, and she completely switched off by the time she got halfway to Swindley Bottom. So he has definitely kept her on the right side of boiling over.
What, Ruby? I've been corrected on my Instagram. Sasene is how you say horse number 2. Spanish for cut off, apparently.
Cut off?
Something like that. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Meg, Flight.
No.
It was so nearly a maybe.
I know it was nearly a maybe, but
not allowed.
No, Jessica says no splinters, so I'm not going to sit on the fence. She's ran 2 crackers in both of the Guineas, hasn't she? But just not quite at the top level, and maybe will fall just below again.
We're seeing this all the time with Oisin Murphy, aren't we? He's always getting off. He's always checking the tack. He's always changing a little bit, checking the throat lash or the cross nose band. Everything all the time. Do you know who else used to do it? Willie Carson used to do it all the time because he's thinking about pinching a little advantage when he's down there. He's what, 54, 55, 56 kilos? He's thinking any advantage I can get off the horse's back.
I want to be quick with the next 4 so we can get to Luke. January, Francesca?
Has to be because of the jockey and the trainer, yes.
Kontiki, Jason?
Yes.
Simmering, Meg?
No.
Now, Jason, Zaragana here, is she a big yes for you?
Absolutely.
You're very confident.
Yeah, I think that the way the race is hopefully going to pan out, it sets up for her late change of gear. Let's hope the jockey keeps hold of the Pro Cush.
Yeah, Zaragana, she's neat, she's lovely. I just watched her trotting down, pointing her toe. She gets a massive plus for me. Chantilly Lace as well is another one. She only had those 2 starts. I heard Jason talking about her. I just love her as a make and shake. But if you had to have one, it would definitely be Valakai. You see Jim being really sensible. He's just over there underneath the trees, look, sheltering her as much as he can from the sun. She came down early. She's behaved impeccably. She did go down with that red hood on, but Falakaya, I absolutely love her, Brian.
She's 6-4, Zaragana. Falakaya is 5-2. It's 17-2 January. Kontiki is 9-1. Double figures the rest. Almost ready.
Forward comes January. Ryan Moore for Aidan. In goes Falakaya. Jim Crowley. Exactly on the far side. And then it'll just be Cathedral. All yours, Richard.
So the fillies over a mile, Group 1 contest, the Coronation Stakes. Cathedral is the last one into the stalls, and the 11 are all set at the foot of the hill. And they jump away almost in perfect unison, although Saseni was a little bit slow on that second and third stride, and early on Duty First is going forward, Falakea on the inside, between the pair, the white cap of Exactly, and those trio just joust a little bit for the early lead. Cathedral settles in 4th place, and now Falakea is just fighting Jim Crowley slightly on the inside. Saseni races in 5th place, Zaragana slots it in midfield, and still Falakea wants to race Duty First, and is now being allowed to stride on. Second half of the field includes Chantilly Lace, who is on the back of Simmering at this stage. Then January, Kontiki is last with Flight as Falakea has moved to the lead, but Exactly is just going to keep that leader honest and just press him slightly as they climb the hill. Duty First and Saseni has made ground on the inside. Then in 5th place is Cathedral, and then towards the outside is Zaragana in the green jacket as they prepare to take the turn from Simmering. Still we're back in the field is January, Chantilly Lace, and then Kontiki round the turn for home. Falakea just trying to see off on the outside. Exactly, about a half a length between the two. How much petrol has been expended? Saseni is 3rd, then Duty First. Still waiting is Zaragana, angled out, travelling very strongly as Falakea comes off the bridle now and is pressed by Exactly. Zaragana and Saseni are down the centre with Chantilly Lace, and now January is also being produced. Zaragana goes after Saseni on the outside, Chantilly Lace and January. Zaragana moves to the lead. January on the outside, Saseni on the inside is battling on. Zaragana, Saseni and January, 3 of them to the line in the Coronation. Saseni Soseni too strong on the run to the line for Joseph Murphy, Gary Carroll and Shane Stafford. Really gutsy performance, winning by eventually half a length, 33-1, despite being best placed of those that ran in the Irish Thousands. Aragana in second, representing the French 1000 form, and then back in third was January, whose stable companion Exactly tried to soften up the leader, and the pace did collapse to a degree, but Soseni was close enough. She missed the start slightly, but she showed really good heart there to win and create a shock in the Coronation.
And she's the biggest price winner in this race's history. 33-1, Soseni. Cut off, or shorten in Spanish. She wanted every yard as she got into that battle with Zaragana. Jason.
Absolutely, and daughter of Australia, she was not for passing, was she? Possibly the French filly has got right upside her momentarily, and we'll have a little look. Is the head up? Is the head down? Is she trying? We were told beforehand something always tends to happen when she's out there. Does she get nearly upside?
Oh, it's the way the ears go back and the head just comes up a little bit. She changed legs, and horses are pack animals, and sometimes the clever ones just think, you know what, I'm quite comfortable here. She's clearly got so much ability, Zaragana, but just when it came to it, it looked like Soseni on the rail had it, wanted it more. Big win here for the trainer Joseph Murphy. Gary Carroll for him as well. She's very consistent, and now she's done it at Group 1 level.
On that view, you think she's gone there, don't you?
Yeah, that's a great angle, isn't it? She was well ahead.
And I'm sure a few more angles will get a definitive answer if she was actually well in front at one stage. The jockey, successful on Snellen, wasn't he, a few years ago as well? Rode her to, I think she was second earlier in the week.
Yeah, she ran well earlier in the week, so to go one better now is going to be a good day for Gary Carroll. She actually, Richard pointed out, was jumped with them and then quite slow into stride. Somehow Gary managed to sort of rush her up to get a fairly prominent position, and it was fast fractions, so she's had to be tough and stay well.
Yeah, the tactics were interesting, weren't they? Because Felakaya was keen, but she wasn't given an easy time. Duty First was up there, and then Exactly as well. But this is what it means to them. A big prize winner. What a shock for so many, but for them, absolute delight. Over to you, Matt.
What a result for Gary Carroll, who made his name winning the Ebor for, yes, you've got it, Willie Mullins back in, it must have been about 2008-9. Well done, Carroll.
Unbelievable, yeah. Riding a long time now and been placed in plenty of Group 1s. This is my first one, and if I was ever to ride a Group 1 winner, it's for Joe Murphy. I've been riding for him since he was £7 claimer. He's been very, very good to me. I'm delighted I can repay him.
It is absolutely brilliant. Fantastic for you. Your third Royal Ascot winner, Gary, but by far the most important. When you see Zaragana coming upside you, did that just make you think, hold on, I know that filly against her, I've got a chance?
Yeah, she ran a blinder in the Curragh, slow pace in the curve didn't suit. Went a bit better gallop there today. Got to the front sort of furlong and a half out, and she waited. The French horse came ahead of me. To be fair to this one, she's not big, she's very tough, and she wanted to win. She stuck her head out for me, so it was great.
And for you, Gary, as I say, without being rude, you have been knocking around a bit. You've got your Group 1 on the table now. Just on a personal level, how satisfying is that?
Oh yeah, hugely. They're so hard to come by. These good horses are very hard to come by, and some people, it could be only me, they're going to get one in a lifetime, but to do this Royal Ascot, magic.
It really is, Matt. I mean, we'd have needed a Ouija board to find her, but clearly, as a team, you thought she might have a squeak of, I guess, getting at least a place.
Yeah, definitely. Off her Guineas run, and we thought a better run race in the Guineas, she would have finished closer again, and I think she's taken a step forward from there, and she's just ultra tough. She doesn't know when to give up.
I'm sure there'll be a massive reception for you, Gary. It inspires all of
Gary's an absolute gentleman, hard worker. He went home yesterday, rode a winner in Ireland, came back this morning. He's actually staying in our hotel. He's ridden his third Royal Ascot winner. For Joe Murphy, there's Junior away on the right there. Joe himself is in amongst it, his first Royal Ascot winner, just his second winner in Great Britain. That's TJ, a familiar face, used to work at Ballydoyle, back leading in a winner at Royal Ascot after Soseni won the Coronation Stakes. 33 to 1. Biggest price winner in Coronation Stakes history. Kevin's alongside me. Talk us through this training operation.
Oh, yeah, this will be a hugely popular result in Ireland. Joe Murphy is one of the great gentlemen of Irish racing. It's fantastic that he's here to enjoy it. His son Joe Jr. Olive, I'm sure, is there as well. Joe Jr.'s wife. This is a very handy small filly, but what a heart she's shown here. She was a really promising 2-year-old last year. Look, I'm sure she went off a big price here, but she had been running very well. She'd been shaping very well. Was unlucky a couple of times early in the season. Look, this represents a big step up. But
do you think Zaragana hits the front here? Looks from this angle as if she does.
She definitely does. Look at her head carriage there. Look at the angle of her nose to her forward. She just tilts her head a little bit. You know, it wouldn't endear her to me now, but that's maybe being tough. But you couldn't question the winners. She's a half. I'm sure she's a half sister to Perotto that we saw loads of times here at Ascot, and she made her few quid as a yearling, but her size would have held her back. And Joe Murphy is a wonderful judge of a yearling. He goes to the yearling sales every year, works them as hard as anyone, shops at this sort of a level. I remember him having, God, it's maybe 15 years ago at this stage, a wonderful filly called Arbray Lady who got placed in an Irish Guineas. Look, this, like I say, this is a real result for Ireland. This will be hugely popular. These are guys that everyone loves on the scene every day of the week, and for them to have such a big day on this stage is absolutely massive. It'll be a hugely
Well, I'm just down here in the paddock recalibrating a 33 to 1 winner of the Coronation Stakes, Sir Sene, the biggest price winner of the race ever. 25 to 1 winner of the Commonwealth Cup in Time for Sandals. Yesterday we had 5 winning favourites. The punters are on their knees, but it's a huge result for smaller connections. A 50 grand purchase. Sir Sene, trained in Tipperary by Joe Murphy on the hills of Ballydoyle, and he gets his Group 1, his first Royal Ascot winner. What a wonderful moment that is for him and for Gary Carroll, for the syndicate of owners who have Sir Sene. This is their day. They took down Zaragana. Falakea could not maintain the pace that she set, and Ballydoyle were nowhere to be seen. That's me signing off for the day. I'm about to top up my sun cream and hand back over to Tom and Michelle to round it off.
Jane, we'll miss you. We will miss you. Thanks for all your contributions again today and throughout the week so far. We, that is myself, Pete and Michelle, will pick the bones out of that Coronation Stakes. That's coming up shortly. Some surprises so far, that is fair to say, and in particular a couple of proper boils over in the 2 Group 1s, and that was Sene beating Zaragana. Pete Michelle still alongside. There's lots to pick out of that. The consensus is, and we don't want to detract from the winner at all, but you've got to talk about Zaragana. You've got to focus on her late on and what she didn't like about the finish. Let's take it back to the start. Flight a little bit slowly away, Sene not all that sharply away, but she gets rushed up on the inner to get a handy position, and given how the race panned out, that was a great move.
Well, we're looking right here at Falakaya on the engine, and we talked a little bit about how rank she can be and how Ballydoyle was going to take advantage of this by sending the horse along to try to push on her. So you have exactly that. Exactly is coming right up alongside and, making sure that Falakaya never gets an opportunity to relax. She had to put up extremely quick fractions throughout the entirety of the race, and she wasn't able to maintain it all. Even here, you can see Jim Crowley just trying to take not a hold, but he's talking to her lightly on the reins. You can see his arm really stiff. He's thinking, come back to me just a little bit, Philly. She wants no part of it. She wants to go, and the fractions she put up are just too blazing.
And the race strongly run as we predicted. It looked for a second there like it was going to pan out beautifully for the favorite, who comes into the race nicely, but then, as Tom alluded to, things got a little strange.
I mean, you want to describe her, my gut feeling is to describe her as the most talented filly in the race, the best filly in the race, and I think if she's genuine, I think if she wants it, she goes up to Sene here and she takes it up and she extends away. She should be winning 2 lengths here.
Well, right here, she wanted to go, and as long as she was in hand, she was really willing to go, but as soon as she gets whipped on right here, she starts to put her head up. Her ears are pinned back against her head.
We talked about those ears.
She switches leads right here. She's actually, when he switches sticks, she starts to go backwards. She is really resentful of that. She switches leads again right there, right before the wire.
Now, remember in France last time, well, you describe it here first of all.
Right here, you can see she switches leads from one lead to the other lead, which is going to give her not the smoothest of transitions. The rider is whipping her, and look how firm back her ears are. She is so resentful of this. Last time out, he dropped his whip, and we talked about this in the preliminaries, that I think that really helped her finish because she is a very quirky filly. She has a tremendous turn of foot, and you can see it right here. She looks like she's going to go right on by.
Now watch the first one. Watch the first one here. Bang, years go back. Another one, bang.
And then she's like, I'm in front.
Changes leads. She hates it.
She hates it.
Right,
and look at right here, her head go up. When she changes leads and he keeps whipping her, her head goes up and she stops. If he had kept her just hands and heels, I feel like, she probably would have kept herself in front there, but she was so angry. She didn't care about beating the other horse. She was just mad she was getting whipped still.
I do want to be fair to the winner, though, guys. Sene was very impressive.
I'll get your thoughts in a little bit of time, but that was Sene. You're quite right. We need to focus on her. She's won the race, but there was no doubt about Zaragana there. She didn't want it late on. Sorry, Pete.
No, I get it. We time, but I think
welcome back to our Royal Ascot coverage. There is Sene, the victor in the Coronation Stakes. Pete Fornatel, Michelle Yu alongside, and huge congratulations to that whole team for that success. There's loads to pick out of that. It was a fascinating race to watch late on, but we do need to hear from the winning trainer who has enjoyed top-level success at Royal Ascot.
Well, in the winners' enclosure alongside Joe Murphy, who's just had this first Royal Ascot winner, his second Royal Ascot runner. There's so many things for you to organise, but most of all, what's been really noteworthy since this horse crossed the line, so many people are coming up to us and goes, they're so happy for you, Joe. Johnny Murphy just came and said, what a lovely man you are. He's so happy you won the race. Kevin Blake has just been extolling your virtues as well on the channel. What does this victory mean to you?
Well, I suppose it's 50 years of work of my family and my wife, and growing from a small yard and switching from national hunt to flat, and always believed in buying horses and believing that they're going to be good, and eventually this is make a day for us, you know. So that's what it is. It's a lifetime's ambition to have a Group 1 winner.
What did you see in this filly? She's only small.
Yeah, but I mean, she's by Australia, who is a sire I love, and her half brother won Britannia.
Grotto.
Yeah, and so the pedigree was there, and the only reason, if she was an inch bigger, I wouldn't have her.
Size doesn't matter. I can tell you that.
No, it doesn't. No.
Tell me about the expectations today. She ran really well in the Irish 1000 Guineas. What did you feel coming here today?
Well, I was hoping Lake Victoria would stay in because we'd have a lesser race, and then we'd have a place a rider is easier. Do you know what I mean? But then the whole thing is, it was a good race. She travelled well. Gary gave her a great ride, and we were thinking that being by Australia, she'd stay as well. Now Gary told me she headed and she came back again, and she waited for something to head her. But she's very tough and she's very resilient, and she's a dream to train.
She's a dream to train. Would you have a plan for her, or just treat?
No, I tell you, the plan was today. So now we'll draw new plans.
Well, take your time doing that and enjoy every moment of the celebration.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Yeah, huge congratulations to Joe Murphy with that success. We were just referencing there, and we talked about it earlier on, with desire is hard to put into horses. You know, ability might be there, and it takes skill to train the ability out of horses, but to train desire and want is very difficult to do.
There's a great phrase you hear over here that you really don't hear in the States that I think we need to appropriate, Michelle. They'll talk about a horse having a likable attitude. So Sene demonstrated a very likable attitude there. Getting past, she could have thrown in the towel, but she fought back and did so in a way that, to me, this suggests that she has the more of a desire to win, I would say, at least today.
But it's really hard to differentiate between a horse throwing it away and shirking it, which is what Zaragana has done ultimately, and a horse wanting it more. And you know, how do you split that balance between the plaudits to the winner, but also detracting from the second?
It's hard, and you have to just, I think, acknowledge both those things happened, right? The winner wanted it, and it wasn't that Zaragana didn't want it, but she was more resentful of what was going on, and it overwhelmed her sense of want. And we've seen from her that she's a tricky and quirky filly, and sometimes that happens.
I mean, if you're Macabre Child Barcelona going forward, what do? You need to use the stick to get the most out of these horses, but almost all the time. But she hasn't.
But she's a tail swisher too, and she's a tail swisher. Now we've seen her not switching leads back and forth. I feel like she was okay with it until she hits her top gear. So like when she was behind and he was using it to guide her, encourage her, she was saying, okay, I understand. Once she put her nose in front, she was thinking, excuse me, I have done my job. It is now time to stop.
Yeah, well, but that's it. There are different, you get horses who pull up in front, you get horses who don't want to go to the front, and then you get some who react to that environment, perhaps using the stick and change what they're doing.
I would have no problem with just a hands and heels ride deep in the lane. I mean, they're all individuals. I know what you're saying about, normally speaking, it would be very unusual to not use the stick, but I think that might be the case for her, that you might get a better result.
Yeah, see, there we are. I'm just focusing on the second, and I'm guilty of it. I know I am. Apologies.
Well, look at
Sesede, well done.
Third in the Irish Guineas, right behind Lake Victoria. The Lake Victoria form is just so good.
Yes, great point about the primacy of form over here.
We're still missing a French winner from the meeting. That is a shame. We love the European winners here, in particular Francis Graffard and the Aga Khan colours. That would be great to see.
Speaking of foreign winners, by the way, this is Ireland's 18th winner, and they have actually taken it in 2023 with Tahira, as well as 2024 with Porta Fortuna.
So the last three, and there is Gary Carroll just debriefing with His Majesty King Charles III.
King Charles saying, do you want to ride my horse later?
And he said yes, absolutely. We're saying goodbye, Pete.
Well, cheers. Always a pleasure to be up here with you guys, and hopefully it's going to be a great rest of the show. I'm sure it will. Lots more to look forward to at Ascot 2025.
Yep, loads more to enjoy. Pete is off, perhaps for some refreshment, because you've earned it, and that's exactly what Ali's doing now.
Well, your Royal Ascot experience wouldn't be complete without tasting the Royal Ascot Blush, the cocktail for the Royal Meeting. But I'm going a little bit further, Mark. Mark, you're head of mixology here. I'm going to make it. You're going to guide me through the Royal Ascot Blush, and we're going to make it together. So what have we got?
So this year we have a brand new partner, brand new gin partner, Silent Pool, 40 minutes down the road, 24 different botanicals, sort of lavender, kaffir, lime, and honey. Very full-bodied juniper-heavy gin. Perfect for a day like today, and especially with the fresh British fruits. So we're going to have 2 shots of Silent Pool.
I can do that. I'm not going to bother with that shot measure, because I'm sure I know what 2 shots is. Yeah, and you're going to make one as well?
Yeah, I'll do one in the meantime as well, just so we can have a
this looks
taste
very cool.
comparison.
I need to do that, I think. I'm sorry I spilt that a lot.
That's all right. We have a clean-up crew. And then we're going to put in a dash of our raspberry and lime cordial.
Yes, okay, a dash of that. Yeah. Do you want me to do? You
I'll do mine.
Yes, just so we can.
We're just going to give it a bit of colour, and also, just brings out a bit of tartness from the raspberry as well.
Okay, right. Okay. Shaking time.
Now, firstly, we need to add our fresh British ingredients, our British strawberries.
A tradition here.
And that is what Royal Ascot is about, really. Beautiful fresh produce in the glass, ready on a hot day like today.
Okay, right. Don't spill it on my dress.
I think you're ready.
Here we are. Okay, squeezing those strawberries out. You give it some flair. That's the way to do it.
So traditionally we'd build this drink, but I thought I'll build one, you shake one, let's see how it turns out.
Okay.
If I can get it open.
So, yeah.
Let's see. Ooh, I like your colour. Beautiful and red. I'm just going to top this up.
So basically now we've got, is that just gin and ice and a bit of strawberry?
And now we're going to add our effervescence. Schweppes were another partner this year. And the great thing about Schweppes is there is more carbonation. So on a day like today, you can hold onto your drink for longer and it's not going to go flat.
Okay, so we're just topping it up with a tiny bit of lemonade, and then it's all about the garnish. Look at that, another strawberry. It looks so refreshing as well. Lovely colour. There we go. You need to finish your drink.
All right, let's do a taste test.
Look at this. Okay, let's have a taste. That's quite strong. That's quite punchy, but I like that.
I think I've hit it right on the nose.
Well done. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, tell you what, they were both straight in there. That looks delicious.
My favourite was when Ali was like, do you want me to pour yours? He's like, no, I'll take mine.
Yeah,
Ali's got the good pour there.
Yes, don't touch mine. Thank you. Hopefully she's on her way back with one of those, but I doubt it. Right, look, if you found winners today, well done. There were 5 winning favourites yesterday. It's been much harder today, and it's not going to get much easier with the Sandringham up next. Yeah.
Well, let's get some reaction then to Zaragana finishing second in the Coronation Stakes. Francis, what was the debrief from the jockey?
Well, like everybody saw it, she had a very good trip with the cover, traveling very strongly. She came easily on the bridle to the front line, and Mikel wanted to win clear with her because he can felt Ryan coming behind, and he didn't want. We know her character, so he didn't want her to be challenged too much. But she changed completely her attitude. He said, riding her, it's unbelievable. You come from being really easily to her lifting her head up and shorten up her action. So she's a frustrating filly. She has a lot of ability, but look, she's second in the Coronation, so it's not too bad.
Attitude or ground, do you think?
Just attitude.
What do you do about that?
Not much. I'm not going to put like yellow blinkers on. No, it doesn't really matter. I mean, she has a place at stud. She's owned by a big owner breeders, so we know her quality. So it will be all about matings now and finding the right sire for her. But the season is not finished. We know know her more and more, so we will have to bluff her, and that will be all in the end of the jockey.
So that won't be the end of her racing career. So where would be next for her?
Hopefully she comes out really well from today. We give her a little bit of time. We see her probably in Deauville this August, or we wait for the autumn, but she will be competing in Group 1 for fillies. I don't know yet. It was we have to see how she comes out first.
Well, I appreciate you talking to us.
Thank you. Bye.
Lots of insight there, obviously a little bit of a disappointment for Gaffard, but we will go on to fight another race, and we'll see if maybe we can get her figured out without the yellow hood. So happy to be joined right now by Nick Smith, the Director of Racing here at Royal Ascot. Thank you so much for joining us.
That's a pleasure, Michelle.
Aren't you happy with the weather?
Very happy with the weather. It's a little warm for us guys. I mean, there's not many situations where the men have to really struggle with their attire, but this is certainly one of them.
And now yesterday we had a parade of favourites. We've had great racing all week. Today we've had some prices. It has to make it for a really great atmosphere from your aspect.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Look, it's what it's all about, is that you get the expected great performances for the likes of Field of Gold. You get sort of semi-surprises like the Prince of Wales Stakes, and then you get complete boil-over upsets like we've seen today. But who's to say those horses won't go on to prove themselves to be genuine Group 1 champions as the season and the year unfolds in front of us.
Now what we've seen from these horses also, we have a lot of US-based horses coming. We have Breeders' Cup win and you're in races. Can you talk about the importance of the Breeders' Cup win and you're in races to Royal Ascot and the partnership?
Yeah, it's really important to us. I mean, the Breeders' Cup are key partners to us. We love being part of the run-up to the Breeders' Cup. We have, I think it's 6 or 7 races the whole season, because we go on after Royal Ascot, we go on to the King George, and then there's 2 on Champions Day. And nothing pleases us more than to see Royal Ascot winners or Ascot winners go on to the greatest show in America and to represent Britain.
Nothing pleases us more than seeing Breeders' Cup runners come over here as well. It works both ways.
Me too.
How enthusiastic are people when they win a win and you're in to head over to America?
Yeah, it's just so well known now. I mean, the Breeders' Cup is so established. The Breeders' Cup is almost part of the European season. It's a bit like a major in golf. You know, you just know that as the season develops and goes on, from about Derby Day onwards, you're thinking, okay, what are my summer targets? And then if the horse needs to get a bit of cut in the ground, you might be thinking about our Champions Day. If it's more of a summer kind of horse, you're already thinking Breeders' Cup. If people think the track might suit the horse, Breeders' Cup's there. But we send like 40 horses plus horses to the Breeders' Cup. So there isn't another race meeting in the world where an overseas contingent from one country or one region is so strong.
How much do you think Breeders' Cup has taken away from Royal Ascot as far as having a carnival-like atmosphere? I mean, Breeders' Cup used to be 5 races, and now we're 2 days, and we're not quite up to the 5 days of Royal Ascot. But do you feel like we're trying to grow in that direction?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 2 days is quite a short period to build a sort of like a momentum and a carnival like we have here. And also, the racing is so intense at the Breeders' Cup. We have a few handicaps. All the races are obviously elite races and worth winning and cherished by whoever wins them at Royal Ascot. But we don't bash off like 8 Group 1s in a row. So the Breeders' Cup is a really core racing event. But the event feel has built probably more outside the race days. So things like the huge parties that they would have leading up to it, celebrities at those events, really world famous singers. So I think you go to the Breeders' Cup and you kind of have your party for 3 days, and then you go racing for 2 days.
You have some great people here too, though. I mean, today Andrew Lloyd Webber was in the carriage of the the procession, the royal procession. I didn't get to meet him. Can you hook that up for me later?
Shouldn't be too difficult. Andrew Lloyd Webber is always here. He's a regular in the royal procession. He featured quite heavily in our documentary, which I'm sure you've seen, talking about his experiences past and present coming to the royal procession. But they're huge supporters, the Lord Webbers, and it's always great to see them.
Well, I appreciate you joining me right here. We're going to step aside from us and join Ali Vance.
Thanks very much, guys. Right, we're building up to the Sandringham Stakes then over the straight mile for the fillies, and Andrew Balding joins me. And you've had a very good Ascot so far. I'm sure that takes the pressure off somewhat. Now we're into day 4.
Yeah, it's always a relief to get a winner on the board, and we got another one last night. But it just makes you hungry for more. So we still got a few chances left.
Well, let's talk about Zagatha in this one then. Is this going to be your 3rd winner of the week?
Well, she should be very competitive. I mean, she's a filly's improved with each start, and we just felt that the mile and a quarter was stretching her last time, so dropping back to a stiff mile here and should be to her liking.
What about the draw then? She's drawn high. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, should be. The big question mark's the ground. This is the fastest ground she would have run on, but she's got a good action. You never know until you try.
Well, always nice to know that the team are in good order, so good luck with this.
Thanks, Ollie.
Good luck to Andrew Balding here. He's had a winner already at the meeting. Let's turn our attention to this contest then. And it doesn't get any easier. Well, this is the nature of Royal Ascot. And on the straight course again, we've seen some interesting results on the straight course. Although we have seen a couple of winning favourites in the handicaps on the straight course. That's not something that I think is, it can be. You can be such a hostage to fortune if you're patiently ridden on the straight course. You can see some big price results, but some handicap winners have been easy to find. And I'm interested by the draw here, Michelle, because we've seen winners far side today.
Yeah, we certainly have. And you look at the horses that are drawn out there right now, and they're not without possibility.
Kick off with a couple I fancy. Is that all right?
Yeah, hold on. Can you page ahead? I gotta get to my post 28.
Let me say Betty Clover first of all. Now this is obvious. Betty Clover, horse number 2 here. William Buick, Eve Johnson Horton. She was a winner of the Windsor Castle, of course. Eve Johnson Horton was. She's got Betty Clover 2 starts to go. She finished a nose second to Crimson Advocate, who came out.
One of my favourite runners of the week here.
Yeah, who came out and won earlier on this week. Crimson Advocate over the mile. She was touched off in Group 2 company last time. She's in a handicap here off 100. I mean, I think you've got to have her on side from stall 23, which I thought coming in today was a good draw.
What about Miss Nightfall? All the way on the outside in 28. Number 11.
Yeah.
Draw 28.
Look, she's an obvious one, isn't she? Is she Murphy James Fanshawe?
You say she's an obvious one. She's 20 to 1 on the US morning line.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, she's 130 favourite here. She's a favourite.
Look, she's 20 to 1.
Well, look, she looked a Goodwood 2 starts ago as though she wanted a mile.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure she definitely looked that way last time, but I think she'll probably appreciate it. She's a daughter of Sansa Marley, who was a sprint winner. Sansa Marley won the champion sprint here over 6 furlongs. Her dam was pretty fast as well. I'm not certain she's going to appreciate the mile. I think she's well in off 89. Definitely.
What about Silver Ghost?
Let me tell you about Silver Ghost.
Please do, because she's my top selection.
Okay, well the nice story about Silver Ghost here is Bill Simpson, who owns her, names all of his horses silver or grey, and Silver Ghost is because his late wife loved a grey.
Okay.
And Silver Ghost was the last horse that she was there for the purchase of, and she passed away, I think it was late last year. So when she was a winner at Newmarket, it meant a huge amount to Bill, and they've actually got one more horse in training they've named after her, his late wife. So she would be hugely popular winner, Silver Ghost.
So she's back-to-back open length wins, should be able to get the mile, but untested over the distance.
And there are your last 3. Rika, Arabian Leopard, easy on the eye. We're over the straight mile next.
Oh, what a good betting hit again. Number 11, Miss Nightfall for James Fanshawe, Oisin Murphy, 6 to 1 into 3 to 1. 18 Dash of Azure, the Blue Point filly, 13 to 2. The 6th filly, Silver Ghost, Phoenix of Spain filly, is third in the market at 17 to 2. Betty Clover is 10 to 1. She was 4th in the Fred Darling, and 3rd in the Fred Darling was what? Time for Sandals. Yes, the flip-flop filly that won for Harry Eustace, Rob Waterhouse, of course, husband to Gay Waterhouse. Okay. Welcome to Royal Ascot. Who are you with? Who are you against?
I thought the Silver Prospect, Silver Ghost, we had a great chance, and I'm with it. And I thought the favourite, Miss Nightfall, had a great chance. I was very much against the guard. I've stood it for more than I can afford.
Thank you, Rob.
Good on you.
Okay, well, a big drifter here on the exchanges is Tabiti, out to 30 to 1 on the exchanges. Zagata's being nibbled at, but there is a big move now for the King and the Queen's runners, Purple Rainbow. You can see that mirrored on the boards as well, 12s into 10. That support for the daughter of Knight of Thunder is being reflected on the exchanges. So perhaps in the Sandringham we may get a royal winner. The exchanges are positive for Purple Rainbow.
Oh, that's that's good to hear. Money for the Royal Runner. It'd be wonderful to give them another success here at Ascot. And could it be in the Sandringham Stakes? A tricky one, big field over the mile. Purple Rainbow, their runner is drawn in 14. William Haggis trains. Warren Fentiman rides, taking £5 off.
She's been a touch too keen here, Purple Rainbow. She ran over the mile, didn't she, on the round mile, I'm sure that was, and she was a bit of a handful. So going over the straight mile, she's in 14. They might just let her pop along. There is a bit of pace around her, though. Serving with Style and Bountiful close by, who like to pop along.
Interesting that Tabiti is such a huge drifter. Massive price now for Juddmonte Tabiti. And Rafe Beckett's had 14 runners this week at Royal Ascot. Only one of them has been placed.
Yeah, it hasn't been his week, but still a bit of time to go. Tabiti drawn in 1. We've seen that be a good place to be this afternoon. Who do you fancy, Megan?
How many selections are we allowed?
Or 2.
Okay, thanks. So I've got 2 would be Betty Clover, who's back down in grade. She ran very well actually in the Prix de Sandringham over in Chantilly last time. That was a Group 2. She's very, very consistent. Eve Johnson-Horton with a good week so far. And my other is Oolong Pubong, which I think is the only sort of tea that you would drink, Francesca. But
either that or Lapsang Souchong, you know?
Yeah, well, there you go. 2 teas I've never heard of. But she was very impressive at Haydock last time. She's a strong traveller. I think she just could be anything. Ed Bethel's had winners at this meeting before and fancies this filly to be above average.
Okay, Megan's had 2. Jason, 2?
Just the one. Alpharica will do for me. Owen Burrows. David Probert on board because she's got a very lightweight, just 8 stone 6. She's in the high numbers. Let's see how that draw plays out here.
Loading underway. What's happening there, Luke?
It's getting a bit tense down here. Just look in the stalls now. You can see that Betty Clover getting really upset in stall number 23. William Buick just called over the stalls handlers, and as usual, they're over like a shot just to put a blind on her. It is swelteringly hot for these fillies down here. You can see there just in front of us going forward. That's Zagata. And Zagata going into stall 25. There is a couple over here as well. The Royal Runner as well was actually trying to get back and go through the Golden Gates. It was miles away. Purple Rainbow, you can see down there. Warren Fentiman, as I say, a huge day for him. But one of the stalls handlers just gone to collect him. So it's starting to get to them this heat a little bit, Brian.
Each way support, look for Dancing Teapot 20-1 and also number 27 Arabian Leopard, but the double figure prices about Purple Rainbow are about to disappear. 12-1, 11-1, 10-1. Some bookmakers calling 9-1 for the King and Queen's Night of Thunder filly. Will we be learning the lyrics for Purple Rainbow?
We might indeed. So money for Dancing Teapot. I think Kevin was quite keen on her in the opening show this morning. She's a full sister to Dancing Gemini. The cheap pieces go on for the first time. Chris Hayes rides because Dylan Brown McMonagle wouldn't be able to do the weight. So let's see how she gets on as the Royal Runner comes forward.
Sandringham Stakes, last one forward. Here's Purple Rainbow for the King and the Queen to complete the line, wide across the course, straight mile, effectively the Fillies Britannia for the 3-year-olds. Longish hold, but they're off and racing. They all get away on terms, although a little bit slow towards the inside. Was Zagatu was one of the slow starters. Over on the far side, Tabiti is leading a breakaway group with Mojave River over there, Never Let Go, and also Arabian Leopard. Meanwhile, up the centre of the racecourse, Easy on the Eye leads them there with Serving with Style. Royal Runner's very keen, Purple Rainbow just behind the speed, with Bassadanza chasing the leaders on the near side. Cajole the Grey up on the outside, and then Touch of Azure in this main group with Ansar. Then Cartwheel, Betty Clover, Nancy Jade, and Dancing Teapot with on the outside of those Saraselka as Easy on the Eye blazes along towards the back early on. Silver goes towards the tail. Amagali is towards the back as well, in company with Bountiful as they make their way now. Miss Nightfall is also towards the back of that near group as they continue their progress out towards halfway. And out in the lead, it's Easy on the Eye who has the advantage over on the far side. Tabiti leads Mojave River, Never Let Go, and Arabian Leopard, the quartet over there. Up the centre, Serving with Style, big white face of Purple Rainbow. Cajole up on the outside of Bassadanza, then Sea Poetry. Touch of Azure's making ground. Just looking for a little bit of look is Betty Clover. And Miss Nightfall's trapped behind a wall with 2.5 furlongs to go. Tabiti over on the far side still leads the 4 over there. Cajole coming there strongly up the centre of the racecourse. Also making ground, Oolong Pubong as they make their way now down inside the furlong and a half. Tabiti on the far side is giving a bold sight here. Never Let Go and Cajole, the action over towards the far side. Touch of Azure and Oolong Poolong as they make their way inside the final 150 yards. And Cajola never let go. Never let go on the far side, moves to the lead. And it's never let go. Never let go won the Sandringham from Cajol to Beatty. Oolong Poolong, Touch of Azure, missed Nightfall, won the group near side right from the back of it. And then behind those was Zagata. Never let go. One of the four that raced over on the far side. That'll throw the draw open for the Wokingham tomorrow. As one for Kieran Schumacher and Ed Walker, denying a first Royal Ascot victory for Saffy Osborne and Cajol. Third to Beatty, who did a really good job towing the four up over there. Oolong Poolong was fourth, tight for fifth. Touch of Azure. Miss Nightfall's done a lot of running on this near side, just didn't have much to take her into the race, and actually 7 of them were clear, with Zagata rounding off that 7 ahead of Nancy J, Silver Ghost and Dancing Teapot. So success then for Never Let Go. Kieran Schumacher for Ed Walker and the Rockcliffe stud. The action largely developing over towards the far side.
Owners who've had so many nice horses over the years, Sky Lantern being amongst the best of them. Kieran Schumacher, after what Johnny Murtagh said the other day, describing what he's been through, nice to see him coming into the winner's enclosure at Royal Ascot. You remember Ed Walker, remember Agritero? Was very well backed and bolted up in this race years ago. He's won it again. Meg.
Yeah, Kieran Schumacher will be delighted that probably feels as if he's had luck on his side this time. Once again, it all sort of developed over on the far side. Low draws were key, and this filly, she's been handy in a small group, followed to Beatty, who led them along at a nice gallop, but I think she was straight. She had that sort of rail side to run across. Cajol ran around under pressure for Saffy Osborne, and I think Kieran Schumacher's filly just was that little bit straighter.
Amazing how the pedigree's come into the fore again. She's by No Nay Never, another one of his progeny that's managed to get the job done. The second is out of Persuasive. The dam won this particular race for the exact same trainer-owner combination previously, and they've been pretty dominant. Well, there we go. We were talking, we started to lean towards that big bias with the high numbers. Nothing of it whatsoever.
Yeah, now all the low numbers to the four. Yeah, this will be very satisfying for trainer Ed Walker, having won this race before. Like you said, Ed, he learned from a good trainer how to get one ready in a big field handicap.
Who was that, I wonder?
Yeah, he spent quite a few years as assistant to my dad, so this will also have made him very happy at home watching Ed have success here. And it's been a frustrating week for the team. Magira taken out before the sprint on Tuesday. That must have been gutting for them, having lost a shoe before the start of the race.
They're just taking the photos here with Kieran Schumacher, which we just let them do. But he is number one. I'm sure a hugely emotional victory for Kieran. Kieran, can you just take a quick turn? First of all, Kieran, you're in such a small group. How hard is that to judge that to that kind of perfection?
I was always looking over to the near side, and I felt we were well positioned. Colin Keane was making the running. I got a lovely toe into the race. She's got a high cruising speed, and she stays this trip really well. She's a progressive filly, so I was on the right one.
So many of these were going up in distance. She was dropping down. Having that confirmed stamina as a rider, does that help you out a bit?
Yeah, and she was ridden to get the 10 furlongs. I felt at Goodwood, so she's a filly that's not short of speed, so she's talented and she's progressive, so she had the perfect profile coming into today.
Your second Royal Ascot winner, Kieran. I actually had a quick chat with you the other day, and you said to me it was almost kind of embarrassing that you'd only had Atty Purse so far, but we've spoken to so many absolute class riders that have got 1 or 2 Royal Ascot winners. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's a very competitive place, Matt. It's very difficult to ride winners, and you need to be riding for the powerhouses in Coolmore and so on. So yeah, very fortunate to get the ride on this filly. First time I've ever sat on her. So Ed Walker's been very loyal, and it's good to repay him.
And loyalty will be key to you moving forward. I mean, there was a moment, of course, that you would have come here thinking you'd be riding Field of Gold, etc. How difficult has this week been?
you just got to remain positive as a professional athlete and believe in yourself and believe your luck will change, and it's just changed.
Yeah, it really has, and Ed Walker could play a big part moving forward now.
I hope so. I've always ridden for Ed. I've had a couple of Group 1 winners for Ed, so it's a good connection to have.
Dream Loper back in the day, Lady Beaufort. He's back, team, he's back.
And he's conducted himself immaculately. He really has. Ed Walker on the left there, his wife Camilla on the right. And Rockcliffe Stud is near Stow-on-the-Wold, managed by Sophie Wolf. Ed Sackville, who we often talk about on the show, is the chief advisor. We've had some lovely horses. Meg, really nice to see him walk into the winners' enclosure.
Yeah, it is, definitely. I'm amazed actually that it is only his second Ascot winner, Royal Ascot winner, but it was a good one, and as Kieran says, he's ridden for Ed for a long time throughout his career, really, even as an apprentice, so to be able to reward him with a winner back is probably pretty special. But at the end of the day, Kieran's, he's a good guy, he's a good jockey, he's had to put things behind him, carry on, work hard, and eventually the rewards do come back around.
Yeah, and a big pat on the back for Ed Walker and the team. As Francesco was mentioning, they were painfully unlucky in the sprint. You can't say whether they'd have gone and won, but it didn't happen. They had a second earlier in the week as well, but to get one on the board is great. And I tell you, he's not out of it with a massive runner in tomorrow's Jersey. I'm fascinated to see how he goes on. Noble Champion tomorrow.
Yes, hopefully he'll run well for them. And they're also sitting on a potential star in the shape of Almakam, who beat Ombudsman last time out. We saw Ombudsman winning very impressively here, so I don't feel too sorry for the team, and this will have put a smile back on their faces.
Bookmakers won't mind that result. You could have got 33s this morning. Never Let Go went off at 22-1. Cajole so close to Safi, second at 25. Tabibti, the big drifter for Rafe Beckett, ran really well, finished in third at 18-1. Big run from Oolong Pubong at 10-1, and Don't Give Up on the horse that went off favourite there for the Cool Silk partnership. Missed Nightfall last earlier on and was clearly on the wrong side, as Richard said. No horse to give that contender. She didn't have anything to tow her into the race.
Yeah, well done to all involved with that success of Never Let Go. Kieran Schimmock over the far side. There you go. Late yesterday, it was all about the high numbers, and now they're over the other side. Not easy to predict at Ascot.
To the Royal Enclosure Gardens, just waiting for a drink. Actually, I've come to the bar here. Hopefully it's going to arrive soon. Aha! Now that is some style. Thank you very much, sir. Wow, and this is a Moet and Chandon champagne with a difference. A vintage one. Looks amazing. A Jeroboam, no less. Hannah, I'm going to have a quick word with you. Hi Hannah. Oh, this is ridiculous, Hannah.
It's bad luck to cheers an empty glass.
Hannah, what have we got here?
So we have Moet and Chandon Grand Vintage 2004. So this unique bottle has been aging in our cellars for 21 years. We are super proud as Moet and Chandon to be the official champagne of Royal Ascot. So all around the tables today you'll see our current vintage, which is Grand Vintage 2016.
And how would this one be different to the classic bottle you can buy in supermarkets?
So in comparison to our Brut Imperial, our cellar master essentially selects a vintage year that he deems the best, and we only release a vintage champagne in that year. So we have 2015, 2016 for example, 2004 amongst others, but since our maison was founded we've only produced 77 vintages, and we were founded in 1743.
Well, this is pretty special, and this bottle, if we have another look at this bottle's only available in the Royal Enclosure, am I right? And if I was going to buy it, how much is it going to set me back?
Oh, you have to check the menu, but a little bit punchy, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
I'd need to have a few winners. Well, hopefully the guys in studio are tipping lots of winners. Maybe they've had some winners. Maybe you guys can afford to buy one of these bottles and get it delivered to the studio, perhaps. Cheers.
Right, we're going to turn our attention to France. We have Achilles Catherine Ford alongside Michelle and I to, well, reflect so far. There's still plenty more to come. 3 in 1 race, the big race, the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes tomorrow for France. But what have you made of the week so far?
Well, we got off to a slow start. We didn't expect great things on the first day with Monté and Estepona in the sprint in the King Charles III. They kind of ran up to expectations, middle of the road. We had Asmarani, who was disappointing in the Queen's Vase. We've had
Did anything come to light about that?
Mikel Barcelona just said he lacked the speed. Really, he had a wide jaw. He's not very fast out of the stalls, so he was always behind and just always at his maximum speed, keeping up. And on fast ground like this, he was never able to get on terms and do his stuff. So that was disappointing.
Candelari was a notable disappointment in the big race yesterday, the Gold Cup. I mean, he's better than that, surely.
Well, I think he is. I mean, he looked very good when he won the new Group 1, the Vicomtesse Vigier, last time out at Paris-Longchamp. I spoke to Connections afterwards. They kind of gave the lack of experience excuse, which I think is legitimate. I did think that was going to be a concern for him before the race. You know, he didn't make his racing debut until December of last year. He clocked up 3 wins on the all-weather, then was third in a trial, won the Group 1 and came here. So he was stepping up in distance and taking on the big guns. You know, he's not battle-hardened like that. They said, you know, he was travelling fine. They didn't use the ground as an excuse. He was travelling fine, and then when, you know, push came to shove, he just didn't have the experience, the toughness that he needed. So I haven't heard what the plans are, but I would imagine he'll have a bit of a break and then come back for the staying races in France, or maybe even back here on Champions Day at the end of the year.
And we've had a good look at the filly, Michelle.
Yeah, what about Zaragana? What are your takeaways? Because we have a way of thinking here that she's just a little bit resentful of being asked the extra inch or two.
Yeah, well, absolutely, 100% right. And Francis Graffin and Michael Barcelona and even the Princess Zara Aga Khan are saying exactly the same thing. You know, the Princess Zara says Zarkava herself was a little bit bonkers. Zaragana,
I like the honesty.
Passed it on from the grandma.
Oh, absolutely. And Francis has always said she's a delicate filly, which I think is a nice way of saying that you need to really handle her with kid gloves. Michael Barcelona said, you know, he came, you know, full of horse, and the minute she got to the front and had to start to dig, I'm not even going to say dig deep, but she just didn't want to know.
Yeah, I'm not sure dig. The moment she had to put the spade even in the ground.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I do think there's an element. I mean, you see her here, the tail's flashing a bit, but this is quality. This is class to go and pick up the leader. But then it's what happens at the business end.
You just think that at this point she's going to lower her head and just zoom away again.
Up is all she does.
But the opposite direction, exactly, Michelle. And how frustrating. So Francis Graffin and the whole team just really pragmatic about it. I think they maybe feared that this might happen, and you know, Francis is very much saying she has her mission accomplished. She is a classic winner, albeit in the steward's room with her success in the Poule d'Essai des Pouliches. The Aga Khan studs are very much a stud and breeding operation, so she does have her place in stud in the future, but Francis was saying that they will kind of probably give her a bit of a break now, regroup and see where we can go from this. He said he won't put blinkers on. Why
not?
I think it's in France it's seen as being a little bit negative.
That's what he said. The yellow hood. I mean, with such a.
I don't know why he mentioned yellow, because I mean, you know, you could put a nice discreet pair of black ones on, or even some green and red ones. But
I think even over here, Kate, you wouldn't put
winkers?
You wouldn't. Some what?
The cheek pieces. Yeah. We call them winkers in America.
Well, we call them Australian blinkers. We call them in France. Yeah. So
you just wouldn't put headgear on a classic winner.
No, I think
it's not going to do you any favours.
Why not? What if it did you favours, and all of a sudden she's a dual or a three-time Group 1?
But way worse than that, you put some headgear on a classic winner, and then they go and dog it again. Then you're then you're on a hiding to nothing. Exactly. I think you just wouldn't do. Would you do? You do it in America? Would you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's where we differ.
I mean, we blinkers on, blinkers off, cheek pieces, shadow rules, whatever you can try and do. Now we do have a rule that if you're trying to change equipment off a win, you have to get permission from the stewards. Okay. So like if you want a Group 1, you couldn't add blinkers next time without permission and say, hey, why, and you know, whatnot. But also we work horses a lot more often, so we could always try it in the mornings and see if we get a better result.
I think one thing that's nice when it's an operation like Francis Graffin and Princess Zara, you know, they couldn't be open. They're not. It's not like Francis has to protect an owner. They can be open about the filly's characteristics and her quirks. quirks, and I think we appreciate that. There's no point in trying to keep up it and hide
There's
it.
no hiding her quirks.
No, absolutely, and as you say, Princess Zara has so much transparency. She loves it. She's very, very open about all they do. We saw when they came over with Maidak for the derby, and they opened the doors of the stables in Chantilly and talked about the thinking behind all that. And Princess Zara loves the game, and it's great to see her kind of continuing this family tradition. And hopefully Zarigana will continue the family tradition. And Francis was saying, when in time when she does go to stud, they'll find a stallion with a very good mind. So
could you imagine that? So they're doing their pairings, and they're like, just call and see how good this horse is. How well behaved is this horse?
Yes, let's not go find a quirky one. Well, there we are. It wasn't to be. Do you fancy one tomorrow?
Just a word about Rayevka, who ran really well.
Yeah,
that was really good in the Commonwealth Cup, so that was good. I like all three of the French tomorrow. Lazat's been my horse for several weeks, but I also like very much Top Gear, a really progressive son of Rutan Bassett for Christopher Head. I spoke to Stéphane Pasquier about him the other day, asked him about the ground. He said, I love this ground. He's dropping down from 7 furlongs, but on the 6 here at Ascot, it could be a really interesting one. So French Exacta tomorrow, Lazat and Top Gear.
Is Lazat as good as he was last year?
He looked very good last time winning at Chantilly. It was not as important a contest, but he showed great speed, he showed great attitude, he showed that he wanted to be on there, and he's been purchased by Wafnan, so James Doyle will be in the saddle for the first time, but he knows his way around here.
I feel we're disappointed if we come away from Royal Ascot without a French winner, because that's what we want, so let's hope that's the case tomorrow. Kidius Catherine Ford, thank you ever so much. We can go back to earlier on today, where Michelle and I were allowed out to enjoy ourselves. Well, Michelle and I have got more time off for good behaviour. I don't know what we've done, but we've been allowed out. We've come to the bandstand lawn, to the Whispering Angel Bar, joined by Kelly Stevenson, who is the UK brand ambassador, to Chateau d'Esclin, the home of Whispering Angel, which needs no introduction, Kelly, because it's ever so popular wherever you are in the world, and it's popular with us as well. How's things?
Really good, thank you, Tom. Yeah, how are you?
Fantastic, now I've got this. How are you?
I'm so good.
Oh, you've got one now.
Oh, yeah, I do have a mic.
You're okay. Go on, tell us why this is the perfect marriage then. Royal Ascot in the sunshine, Whispering Angel.
I just think, we've been very lucky at Whispering Angel to have a partnership here with Royal Ascot, and it's not just about the fact that it's Whispering Angel, it's a very popular rosé wine. It's how the wine is made. It really fits in this very summery environment. We've got the weather, it's very similar to in Provence, our home. The growing season is as hot as this, if not a little bit hotter, and so we choose grapes that really work in that growing season, which is a hot climate. So the grapes we choose are Grenache, and we have a lovely little grape called Rolle in the region, which is a white grape, and it's really important that we have the right blends that gives that fresh fruit flavour of the wine. And of course here at Royal Ascot there's amazing gastronomic cuisine as well. You've got Simon Rogan, Tom Holland, Raymond Blanc. We're paired as Whispering Angel and some of the other wines we have from the chateau in all of those restaurants, so people can explore it while watching the races, just having a sip out of the glass, or enjoy the wines in that restaurant environment. So it just has a really good fit. The vibe is great because big bottles are available, so if you're having a celebration or there's a few in your party, you can get a Magnum or even bigger.
Okay, Michelle, you're interested in the bottles, yes? I'll buy it for you,
How
dear.
many litres is this?
So that one is 9 litres. It's known as a Salamanazar, or 12 bottles.
I think that would suit for today.
Yes, it might be a bit big for hand luggage on the way home, though. We can drink it today. Fine.
Could we drink the Methuselah today?
Yes, we could probably get through
If
that.
we
So
don't have
this
the-
is the Methuselah we're drinking.
This is the Methuselah, 6 litres that we're drinking from. Yes, this is the 24 vintage. Whispering Angel, you want to drink the freshest vintage possible. It is a vintage wine, it's a still wine. Lovely, fresh, dry, raspberry, strawberry, rose petal.
Well, I'll be the judge on that.
Okay, just take me through the tasting quick as you can. Here we go.
Of course. We don't spill it. We always do a little swirl, get those flavours moving around the glass, then we give it a little sniff.
Thank you.
Get your nose right in there, get all those summer flavours. Then we sip, at which point I won't be able to talk anymore, and while we're sipping we savour on the palate.
Oh, that is savoury.
Well, there we get all those lovely fruity notes of summer in a glass.
What is the best food to eat with it? That's what I want to know.
rosé from Provence is extremely versatile. So whether you're thinking tapas, snack food, pizza, burger, or going into spicier foods, noodles, burgers,
basically
chicken in a sauce, it's really versatile.
It's unlimited. Right, I've loved this, and I'm going to have one more sip. Kelly, thank you ever so much.
Cheers! Cheers!
That was fun.
They let us out once.
Yeah. You know what Kelly does as well is what everyone does in that position is they have that little sip and then they go make that little noise to just really taste it.
I took a bigger sip than that.
Yours was more of a
gulp.
Just to gulp it down. There we go, 2 more races to go on day 4.
To be joined by Mr. Amjad, founder and executive chairman of Beyond Developments and also Omniact Group. Firstly, your first time at Royal Ascot, having a good week?
It's amazing. I'm truly surprised. I think the atmosphere, the dress up, the energy is so positive and it's quite refreshing.
Now, Beyond Developments have just launched a new partnership with Royal Ascot. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was absolutely a pleasure to have the opportunity to partner with Royal Ascot. Such a heritage, such a deep authenticity of their brand to be connected with and associated with, and also have the platform to introduce Beyond as a brand. Beyond is a latest brand of Omniact Group. Omniact Group is a company that's been developing very unique properties in Dubai for over 20 years now. And Beyond is our latest brand that basically addresses a particular segments of the market and try to produce real estates in a very fresh and beyond the typical real estate experience that you find in Dubai. We have very unique locations in some of the most prime locations on the seafront and the beach fronts of Dubai, and it's excellent to have the opportunity to show it to the global audience here.
Well, and of course, Dubai has got such rich heritage and history in horse racing, so it's only right that you're involved with an event like this.
Very
Welcome back to Royal Ascot. The King Edward VII Stakes is up next. It's a Group 2 for the boys. Traditionally a race taken in by those who haven't run in the Derby, but plenty of those that were out the back in that contest line up here. We've got an obvious one in form of Night Walker, but it is obviously an easier version of that contest in layman's terms, Michelle. But nice lengthy animals in here, proper staying 3-year-olds.
Yeah, 1.5 miles is certainly a stayer's distance in here. I think you and I both like the same horse, the one, Amalak.
I like the horse
Beckett.
as a physical.
You don't like him to play?
No.
Oh, well then.
The reason being that he's a lazy horse.
Okay.
Now
he's won 4 in a row.
He has.
He's undefeated.
Yeah.
And he's lazy.
And he won 4 lengths last time at Goodwood. But he's a sort of horse who he's not going to be easy for Ross Orion to get a perfect position for. I think basically the horse is going to have to come wide and late.
Okay.
Because if you look at what he did at Goodwood last time, he's a horse that takes some cajoling along. He's one of those, you look at him out the back and you go, what's going on? He's a short price favourite. He's not travelling. And then he just finds and finds and finds. So he just can, look, 6 is a better draw for him than 1 would have been. And there's only 8 other runners and riders now to pass. So that's not a bad thing. But that would just concern me slightly. Just the way he travels through a race. I think he could do with a longer home straight than this in some ways. I know Goodwood's short as well, but this is a tougher race. I just think he's vulnerable at the top of the market.
I liked Puppet Master, who's a non-runner. What about the 11 Zaran in here? Brings in back-to-back wins, including an open-length victory, 2 starts back at Cork. I know the 2-year-old Irish form is good. How's the 3-year-old Irish form?
Look, it should be very good. If you're looking at the 3-year-old Irish won the Oaks and won the Derby, although they were all both Aidan O'Brien. So, this horse is unexposed, rated 105, stays a mile and a half. That's not something you can say for all of these, and he's getting better and better. Again, I don't mind the draw in 11, widest of all, because again, he's another one that's going to be coming wide and late, and he tends to be pretty slowly away. He'll want a bit of pace to aim at, definitely, and so will Amalok, I think, to be seen to best effect.
Do we have pace? Maybe convergence?
Yeah, I think I wonder if Ryan will take the bull by the horns here on Galveston. That horse went forward last time and drawn in 4 with blinkers on. I'm pretty sure that horse will head forward. I wonder what they're going to do with Nightwalker out of 2, because he's got blinkers on as well.
But he hasn't broke well.
No, well that's the key with the blinkers.
Yeah.
The other horse I think is interesting is Opportunity, purely because of how much William Haggis has said about this horse. Now, he keeps his cards pretty close to his chest. He's also not the type to throw a horse in deep, but he said if the horse had won at Goodwood, he'd have gone to the Derby with him, and that's not always his want. So they clearly think the horse has got bundles of talent. He didn't really show up behind Amalok last time.
No, he didn't. He's going to have to improve so much to catch Amalok.
I think he's better than he showed there. Goodwood's not everyone's track. He's a long striding, big galloping son of Frankel who will want every bit of this trip, and again he's going to want a little bit of pace to aim at here. So I thought there was value to look away from Amalok, to be honest, just the way he goes through the race. He might be just kidding all of us. He might just be far too good.
There was Nightwalker right there, by the way. Big warm-up from him.
There will be a point in this race that Amalok looks as though he's not going to win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you go, what's wrong with him?
In the US, we have a horse named Journalism. He won the Preakness.
He's all right.
But that's how he runs. Going down the backside, he's going the wrong way. And that, if you watch back the Preakness even, he wasn't moving with any kind of forward momentum. And that's why Umberto Rispoli opted to come up the rail and not take him wide, and was really having to work hard on him. He's a little bit of a quirky type to ride. So
second best 3-year-old in the States.
Second best 3-year-old in the States.
Yeah, he's a similar sort of animal, I'd say.
That's hard. That's a really challenging ride.
Heck of a ride that, by the way, from Umberto, wasn't it?
Well, because it all ended up the way it did. If he had got beat by Gosker, I think it would have gone the other way. Yeah.
No, I hear you.
Rispoli, the first Italian to take a Triple Crown race.
There's Ryan down there on Galveston. I mean, you can't discount. A bit like the Ribblesdale yesterday. You had an Aidan O'Brien trained, Ryan Moore ridden filly who was trying a mile and a half for the first time, and she was a 7-1 shot. But you shouldn't be discounting them, because they always tend to improve for a step up in distance.
Well, how about this colt as well? Started off his career not great, went out to the step in distance and ran well, then got beat off of the layoff, then added blinkers last time, and liked the 1.25 miles. Going to keep the blinkers on here. That could be a big difference for him. It's just keeping the hood on.
That horse is coming out nice and calmly. Now that is Zaran. Hasn't worked out in the Aga Khan's colours from the French trained horses. Can it work out for Johnny Murtagh? Let's rejoin the coverage on ITV Racing.
Far enough for me to see the 8-length improvement. I understand the step up and trip as well, but Amelot, who's in shot there, he stays really well. I think an extra furlong for him will help. He's actually bolted up the last twice, and he's still improving clearly. He obviously had aims of big races. He couldn't run in the Derby because he's a gelding, but they hold him in high regard.
Is there much tempo here? Because he is quite idle. If he goes back, are they going to set it up for him? Or?
Galveston and Greenstorm, they're the two to go forward. And we've got a couple of horses, haven't we, that are coming out of Epsom. You know, they're backing up fairly quickly.
They are. Brian, what clues from the market?
Amelot is strong in the market, just gets 6-4. Zaran did touch 3-1, generally an 11-4 shot. Some bookmakers calling 5-2, but you can freely get 11-4. Nightwalker is 10-1 into it, 9-1, and it's 10-1 bar. Luke, how did it look down at the start, Luke?
This is Minhad just going forward. He's just been a little bit of a boyo, actually, and you see they're just going to put the blind on him. Just look at him. It doesn't look. You can always tell when a horse is scared or whether he's just been a little bit mulish, and I'd say it's the latter, to be honest, on this occasion. But there's a little bit more of a breeze for the horses where we are here at the 1.5 mile start. But go on, son, just going in. Hopefully he'll just go on. In you go. See, you can see just be nice and sensible, and last bit of pushing and shoving. So yep, they are underway loading, but it's a little bit pedestrian at the moment.
Yes, and it is 5:35, which is the off time for this race, so they are taking a little bit of time to load. There could be a bit of a delay here. Now, I learned something earlier about cesenin, meaning to cut off in Spanish. Didn't know that. What about Amelot here? What does that mean? What does the panel think?
You're going to come up with, I don't know, another type of tea or something, I'm not sure.
No, it's actually quite clever. Look who his mum is. The dam is called Kalima. Amelot is Kalima backwards. They're really unimpressed.
Creative. No tea.
They're both looking at me going, fun fact.
So we go down a couple of the bigger prices. Wimbledon Hawkeye, he's been in some super company, hasn't he? You know, strong form contender. You think behind Field of Gold, Ruling Court and the likes. He also ran in the Dante.
Yeah, he did, but you wonder if he's just plateaued a little bit. Maybe he can bounce back here. Nightwalker with the blinkers on, I think, is quite interesting.
Yeah, he obviously didn't handle Epsom particularly well, and it was way too bad to be true, surely. But if he suited to the track better this time around, I still think he needs an improved performance.
So it's Amelot who goes in last. Keep an eye on him during the race. He can race extremely lazily. They're in the gate and they're off. Amelot broke very quickly this afternoon, much quicker than he usually does, and it's Galveston who goes on in the King Edward VII Stakes, aka the Ascot Derby, and it is Galveston and Ryan Moore out in front to Amelot, who's going to be ridden far further forward than he was when he won at Goodwood last time out. Towards that one's outside is Zaran, who also broke better than he did last time. Then Wimbledon Hawkeye, keen on the heels of the leaders, with Minhad through on the inside. Next is Nightwalker. Then the red cap of Opportunity. On the inside is Regal Ulysses, and the back marker is Green Storm. And now they begin to make the long sweeping turn at the bottom of the hill through Swinley Bottom, and it's Galveston who has got the lead. Amelot racing in second, just a length off this leader. Pushing up to the inside is Minhad in third, Zaran in fourth, just over a length away to Nightwalker, who is in fifth. Wimbledon Hawkeye around that one's outside is in sixth. Stealing a place on the inside, Regal Ulysses has now relegated Opportunity to be last but one, and Green Storm is still last of the 9-strong field as now they begin the climb. Racing through halfway, 3/4 of a mile to go with the King Edward VII, and it is Galveston who has set a searching gallop. The lead now is 2.5 lengths over Amelot in second. Back in third is Zaran on the outside of Minhad, who's now just been niggled along. Then Nightwalker on that one's outside, Wimbledon Hawkeye, and then towards the outside Opportunity, who's far back, racing on the outside of Regal Ulysses, and still at the back of the field is Green Storm. They go into their next turn. Ryan Moore really has thrown down the gauntlet here. A long way out. Catch me if you can, cries Ryan. Galveston's lead is 3 lengths. Amelot now is ridden to try and go in chase by Ross Ryan in second. Zaran made the turn in third. Wimbledon Hawkeye at Ascot. This time it is Amelot for Rafe Beckett and for Rossa Ryan. He has won by about 3/4 a length from Zaran in second, Galveston in third, and then in fourth came Wimbledon Hawkeye. So Amelot, the gelding, has taken the King Edward VII Stakes. Now he's raced 5 times, yet to taste defeat.
And on Derby Day, it went wrong for Vimy Aykroyd. You'll remember our feature that day, and Pride of Arras couldn't get the job done in the Derby. Well, she's got a Royal Ascot winner, courtesy of Amelot, in a race, Jason, where Ryan Moore said, catch me if you can.
Well, he did, but early on he's gone a smooth sort of tempo, and he had a lot of the jockeys reefing and pulling in behind, so they were wrestling for a position. We remember yesterday, down along the side, once they got round Swinley Bottom, Trawlerman, he started picking up that tempo from there, and Ryan has done a similar sort of thing, but over obviously half a mile less, in fact, on this occasion. He's done really well to hold on to third.
He has. It must have been an anxious watch for the connections of Amelot, I thought, because Ryan was really not hanging about. Well, he kept increasing the tempo. There were a few early that were pulling quite a lot, but Ryan kind of put them to the sword quite early. And Rossa Ryan was keen to follow, and I was wondering, gosh, he's really hoping that this horse has got good stamina, because he was then left in front on his own for quite a long way, and he did keep finding, but it was close enough, I suppose, in the end.
Yeah, but this horse was much sharper out of the stalls today, Francesca, and got into a good rhythm. There were so many, as you said, that were keen in behind. Amelot actually relaxed really nicely for Rossa Ryan. I think it was just a case of when does Rossa commit and chase Ryan and start to close down on that lead. But his man has stayed extremely well. I think he was best positioned early in the race, and it'll be interesting to see what Ruby thinks, but I actually think early on is where Rossa has won.
He's got such a lovely attitude, hasn't he? Look at him there, head right down. He's just such a laid-back character, and he just keeps responding to the jockey's urgings. He's like, yep, I've got more, I'll keep giving it to you. And it's great because the Aykroyds have been a big supporter of Postponed as a stallion. He's probably a bit more known as a jump stallion, but here he is probably his best son. I think these are the connections of various different horses there, but they are the winners. There's Vimy Aykroyd with her daughter, and this will have meant the world to them.
And a frustrating week for Rafe Beckett's just got a whole lot better. He's got his 7th Royal Ascot winner, a 5th for that man there, Rossa Ryan.
So here's Rossa Ryan. Amelot's just been having a few gulps of water, to be quite frank. I'm not sure whether this new way of taking photos is going to take place or not. Just bear with me. Yeah, we're going to do some more photos. So we've got double take. So bear with us a second. What a performance from the gelding, who holds some fancy entries. He's in the Eclipse, he's in the King George. You'd kind of think a mile and a half is his thing. But the biggest question I'll ask Ryan is how sweetly he travelled today. Rossa, this horse, at Goodwood got called plenty of names and we thought he was a bit quirky. Today he seems sweetness as.
He travelled great. He's done very well, Matt, because he hated that ground out there. It was just too lively for him, but he's a tough and he's a hardy. And also for Mrs. Aykroyd, she's been a long-standing supporter in Rafes and a great supporter of mine. I'm just delighted that I could get the job done, and yeah, it's a plan well executed and it's prevailed.
Obviously he's a really, really good horse. Being a gelding makes it a bit difficult for him. He's in the Eclipse, he's in the King George. If the ground had a bit more juice in it or a bit more give in it, do you think he's a King George horse?
Possibly. I mean, he's had a busy enough spring, so he's had a hard race there now on ground that he wasn't happy on. Look, I'll leave it to Rafe and everyone at home to decide what they want to do, but he's done nothing wrong yet, so we keep going as we're going.
And Russell, because of the jockey merry-go-round recently, you lost a whole host of terrific rides here this week, but you're an ARC-winning jockey. The people love you. This will mean a lot.
Look, it's been a difficult couple of weeks. Losing horses, sure, nobody's fault, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles. And to get one here, everyone's over from back home, and yeah, just very, very, how would you say it, the pressure's off a bit now.
Seized your opportunity, well done.
And he is a gelding, so options might be a little bit limited down the track, but you'd imagine a return here for the King George would be a definite possibility, getting quotes of 9 and 10 to 1 for that midsummer feature back here at Ascot, which will be live with us just before Glorious Goodwood. Won't be able to run in the Arc, of course, but he's talented.
He is, and I suppose he's also got options of the likes of the Irish St. Leger. He'd be able to run in that, and I think one thing's for sure is he stays very well. As Ross has said, he's unbeaten. Why not go up at another level? He deserves to. It'd be interesting to see where they do go, and clearly it could well be ground dependent. So it makes it even more impressive that Ross thinks he didn't necessarily love the ground, but he still managed to win on it.
Like the way Rafe also said, he doesn't show a lot, he doesn't do a great deal, and that's a big step up performance-wise from the way he was at Goodwood to here today. Much more professional.
The winner, led in by Samundra Singh on the left. Well done, Vimy Aykroyd. He's clearly got lots of pals here. Some Roach Groves in there somewhere. And here's the winning trainer on the right, on the board this week. He's got so many nice middle distance horses. Wife Izzy in the red hat and the yellow. There was no hiding place in that race, Ruby.
No, there certainly wasn't, but I agree with Jason. Amalok was much more professional, and the most professional horse won the race. Like Megan said, he broke like a bullet, Amalok, whereas Zayran didn't under Ben Cohen. He had to roust him forward to get into a decent position, whereas Amalok just jumped and travelled straight onto the tail of Galveston. Now down, Ben Cohen is aware of who he has to beat, and they can hear Johnny Murtagh roaring in his ear all the way down the hill. Make sure you get in, and he's trying to get in, but he's having to push Sylvester de Sousa back to get in, and eventually he gets in behind Ross Ryan around the bend. But if you watch Amalok down the straight, how straight he runs, and then if you watch the horse in green, Zayran, how much he wanders. Now he's going to wander into his right behind Amalok. When Ben switches his whip, he starts to drift off to his left. He puts it down and tries to straighten him up, but Zayran just never got down and ran forward. He was always going left or he was going right, whereas Amalok ran through, got to the rail and went to the line, and ultimately I'd say the Irish St. Leger would be a great race for him.
These are colours we might see in the Irish Derby. Pride of Arras might well head there. As we get the winning photograph, they shuffle themselves into place.
And congratulations to Rafe Beckett there, because he's not had the perfect week so far. I don't think Chantilly Lace ran pretty well earlier on in the Coronation, but he's on the board here with this horse Amalak, who actually travelled pretty well. Well done to Russell Ryan.
Without afternoon tea, and look at the spread we've got here in the summer house. And also at Royal Ascot, pretty important is British etiquette, and Jordan and William are etiquette masters, experts. I guess where do we start with we talked about the women's dress code, but the men's dress code, you have to be wearing morning suits and top hats in the Royal Enclosure. William, it's a very, very hot day. Are you allowed to take your jacket off or your hat off at all?
You can't take the jacket off, no, as much as you may want to. And I'm a great believer in actually any dress code. If you do get a bit warm in the British summer, I think it's much nicer to keep it on anyway, because I just don't think we look very good when you take it off. It's better to keep it on. I think it's hiding a multitude of sins. Would you agree?
I disagree. I'm sweltering. It's so hot. The British summer hits different compared to the rest of the parts of the world, because we can't cope in the heat. So I want to take my jacket off, but William won't let me. I'm also not allowed to take my hat off, and I am dripping with sweat. So it's ungentlemanly, apparently, to take your jacket off.
Well, the time to take your hat off is when the royal party arrived in the carriage procession earlier. When the king goes past, you can take your hat off.
So you must take your hat off when the king goes past?
Yeah, I would say 80% of people did that today. There were a few people that kept it on, not, I think, because they were making any sort of point. They just maybe didn't know. It was an innocent faux pas, but you are meant to take it off. You can take your hat off, though, if you're eating in certain enclosures as well.
So the etiquette is to remove your top hat when the king comes past and when you're sitting and eating. What other sort of interesting bits of etiquette are there about Royal Ascot? I mean, we've talked about afternoon tea, but are you allowed to have afternoon tea standing up, or is that not the done thing?
Yes, you can have it standing, and it's designed here to be eaten standing. I would try to avoid, I wouldn't have your cup of tea and a plate of food. I think it's very hard to have both, or indeed a glass of champagne with the tea. I do one or the other. Do the eating, put the plate down, then do the drinking.
I can balance, so I'm all right. I'd have one under my arm and one here, and you'll be fine.
Jordan's from the north of England.
For global viewers, people coming to Royal Ascot for the first time, how do they know all this? Where can people find out the etiquette, the British etiquette, what people should be wearing, what more importantly, what they should be doing?
Well, there are also good books and things and videos on Instagram that you can always watch, or just copying what other people are doing. And I think actually that's a great survival tactic for wherever you are, whether it's Ascot or even a friend's house. If you're not actually sure what you should be doing, just copy what those around you are doing.
I'm from what you'd call a blue-collar background, so I use the Ascot website, and that was really helpful. But this is very different for what I'm used to, but I feel like I'm fitting in right now.
Very well, would you say so, William?
Indeed, yes. It's like His Majesty is with us.
They're not serving beer here, but other than that, it's great.
Just champagne and afternoon tea. Thank you very much, guys, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
Lovely.
Well, Amelot has taken the King Edward VII Stakes, race won last year by Calandagan, who mixed it with the very best of the middle distance 3-year-olds last year, and every chance Michelle Amelot can do the same. Amelot, straightforward old Amelot. The horse, I said, is often slowly away, doesn't travel throughout his races. Not a bother on him. Ross Ryan just cruised out of 6, and he basically went to the lead.
I think he ran such a good race here. He looked very good, especially late. Really, Galveston was extremely comfortable on the front end. He put up a good clip, but he got a nice breather in between when he was able to distance himself from some of the other horses. And Zaron ran on very well after this beginning here. So you see right here, Amelot kind of leaning a little bit on Galveston, and then Zaron kind of rushing up. So it took him this first furlong to sort themselves out. But after that, it's very clean.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't making it up. He raced lazily last time. Matt referenced it in his interview with Rosser afterwards. He was on and off the bridle. He was never really travelling, but he kept finding. He's almost lit up here. He's always in Rosser's hands. He's almost over travelling. That's not what you associate him with.
But he looks so comfortable right here. Like there's a tiny loop in his rein. He's not trying to be aggressive. He's just very handy.
At this point, honestly, all of the concerns about early on in the race with Amelot are done. He just wins from here, which is exactly what happens. I mean, he just travels like the dream throughout the race, and then Rosser is just in the perfect position for a horse that stays so well. He comes under the pump here. This is turning for home. 2 3/4 furlongs from the finish. Go and pick up Galveston. Job done.
And Galveston was very valiant here, trying to fight back on. He's over there far side. And I thought that Zaron made a nice run for a second. Right here, it looks like he's not going to run anywhere. And then he just kind of gets switched on, and he's trying to bear into Amelot. But Amelot just has such great momentum at this point. He's really happy after passing Galveston, and he's more than enough going to be able to hold off Zaron here. Great run from Amelot.
Yeah, and Zaron's run really well. I mean, again, the 1, 2, 3 were kind of in that position throughout. It's a race where, again, we've seen today on the round course, not a huge amount of horses found it easy to get into.
The thing with this race is, though, it's very formful. You know, we've had some crazy upsets. This race is formful, and it was easy to see these top 3 finishers.
It was. Amelot, who was unbeaten coming into the race, who then travelled like the dream. Zaran, who stays the distance and runs some really good races. And Galveston, who was always likely to go forward with the blinkers on. Another well-judged ride from Ryan. He's just found Amelot too good. We'll see now. The bit I like.
What do you do with him now?
Well, he's a gelding, so the ark's out the question. But otherwise, I think you can go and, King George possibly, just try and mix it with the best of the 3-year-old middle distance colts.
Okay.
And I think that's exactly what we'll see him do. We'll find Ali.
Obviously, there's a huge crossover between equestrianism and horse racing, so we're delighted to have Olympic champion Tom McEwen in eventing join us. Tom, you're going to be presenting a trophy a little bit later on, and your first Royal Ascot. How are you finding it?
It's been amazing. As you can see by my hat, we used to wear these for dressage. It's been a bit battered and worn and torn by the weather, but absolutely loving my first Ascot. It's been amazing, great experience, great fun. The racing's been incredible, and we've been looked after incredibly.
What do you make of these horses? I mean, particularly in the feature to race the Coronation Stakes. Some of them are just beautiful, aren't they?
Oh, completely. Sadly, sport of eventing is slightly moving away from pure thoroughbreds, but I really wished it came back towards it, because I mean these horses are beautiful, and I mean especially like the Coronation Cup, which is like run over long distance. They are amazing animals, and they are running beautifully, and I mean I wouldn't mind a few of them for eventing.
Nice to see you here, because you're right in peak season. What are you up to at the moment? I mean, you're competing tomorrow, but I guess it's all building up towards the Europeans in September.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very lucky to have a couple on the list for Europeans, and yeah, this weekend we are competing at Farley Hall, which is not far away at Reading. We've got Arca next week, which is one of the best shows in the world. Obviously apart from Ascot, but it's an incredible horse event where you've got dressage, jumping, eventing, driving. It's incredible. So we're there next week, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, good luck, and it's nice to see you here.
Thank you very much.
Good to see the equine crossover at
I like when he says, I'd like some of these for eventing.
Yeah,
I do that too, though. I'm an equine shopper. I'm like, oh, it's a gelding? Tell me what about its next career. You're like, I've got my eye on
Let's send
Rebels
Amalok
Romance.
eventing.
I'm waiting for Rebels Romance to retire.
Yes, I think Charlie would love that. Incidentally, Godolphin have a fantastic retirement program.
Yes, they do.
It's second to none. They all go, if they're not going to stud, they all go to a good home. You can...
Well, they go through a whole program.
Exactly
so you're
right.
not just getting a horse fresh off the track, which is very hard for some people who haven't dealt with thoroughbreds before. When you go through the Godolphin retirement program, they bring them in, they let them down, they retrain them, and they find the discipline they think would suit based on mentality and physicality and what they've been into. So, they have a whole farm, multiple farms in multiple countries where they are allowed to do that and really get into the retraining. And I think aftercare is just so important, and it's great that not only small owners and breeders participate in aftercare, but some of our largest, like Godolphin as well.
And plenty of them can go on into other equine disciplines. We're building up to our last race, the Palace of Holyroodhouse. Mohammed Al Attiyah, the Qatari trainer, has a runner here. Let's find out more.
Why not take some horses abroad and, see how it goes? Racing in the UK is the best in the world. My name is Mohammed Al Attiyah. I'm an owner, breeder, trainer in my country, in Qatar. If I think I have a few horses that will be competitive in some races, then of course, I would love to take part in those races. So yeah, during the summer, as you know, we don't have any racing back home. I thought take the two nice horses I have over to the UK and run them a few times and have fun with them. Since I was a child, I always loved racing, and my father has been a supporter of it. So he bought me my first horse long time ago. It was with Jassim Ghazali. He trained him. So and then it started. That's how we started off. I think everything from breeding to seeing the horses grow from the day they're born to when they get to being broken and ridden and getting them to the race, especially being an owner, breeder and a trainer, you see the whole thing happen from the start, which I find interesting. I got to a stage where I thought it wasn't enough to be just an owner and breeder, so I thought I might as well train my horses in Qatar. It went well. Since I started, we've been having good results. Both of them were purchased as breeze up horses and have been sent to Joseph O'Brien as 2-year-olds, and then with the view to shipping them to Qatar in the winter. So that's how we've been doing it, and it's been working well. Arthur has won 2 big races this winter in Qatar, being the Sheikh Joan Rifle and the Emir's Shalfa. So 2 big races, and then he ran 6 days after the Emir Shalfa in Saudi Arabia, still finished 5th and was a bit unlucky, I'd say. Sahel Star only ran his first race in January and has run 5 times, won twice. He ran from 6 furlongs to 10.5 furlongs, so he's quite versatile with distances, but I think his best trip would be a mile. There's a lot of prestigious meetings here which people love and enjoy, like Royal Ascot, Glorious Goodwood, Champions Day. I think these, people from the Middle East would, dream to have runners in those meetings, which, basically, they come to the UK for prestige more than prize money. I've always enjoyed watching British racing, especially. So yeah, been watching it for a while. There's no easy race at Royal Ascot. To be there I think is an achievement, So if the horses run well, we'll be happy. If they win, even better. Of course, we try, and we have, we'd like to try our best to win, but you shouldn't be really disappointed if you don't, because everyone there is trying to do the same thing, So if you're there and you have horses who can run and be competitive, I think that's an achievement itself.
Good luck to Mohammed. It shows what a destination event it is. A trainer in Qatar going, I want to have a run at there. So good luck to him.
Good luck to him, and also love the fact that you need something to do during the summer. Why not come here?
Exactly. And also, we've been moaning about the heat for 3 days, 4 days. It'd be fun. This is nothing compared to the Middle East.
Delighted to be joined by Mr. Amjad, founder and executive chairman of Beyond Developments and also Omniat Group. Firstly, your first time at Royal Ascot, having a good week?
It's amazing. I'm truly surprised. I think the atmosphere, the dress up, the energy is so positive, and it's quite refreshing.
Now, Beyond Developments have just launched a new partnership with Royal Ascot. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was absolutely a pleasure to have the opportunity to partner with Royal Ascot. Such a heritage, such a deep authenticity of their brand to be connected with and associated with, and also have the platform to introduce Beyond as a brand. Beyond is a latest brand of Omniat Group. Omniat Group is a company that's been developing very unique properties in Dubai for over 20 years now. And Beyond is our latest brand that basically addresses a particular segments of the market and try to produce real estates in a very fresh and beyond the typical real estate experience that you find in Dubai. We have very unique locations in some of the most prime locations on the seafront and the beach fronts of Dubai, and it's excellent to have the opportunity to show it to the global audience here.
Well, and of course, Dubai has got such rich heritage and history in horse racing, so it's only right that you're involved with an event like this.
Very much so. Horse racing has always been the culture of, deep in the culture of the UAE and Dubai, and it's a natural connection for us to connect to such a prestigious venue and a prestigious environment.
Well, enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
The 28th race of the meeting.
Did you count
28
that?
or 35. Well, do you know what I did?
What'd you do?
7 times 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't count each
My
one.
brain might be a little heat
That's-
stroked, I guess. Well, let me see if you know this.
Oh.
Our next race is the Palace of Holyroodhouse.
Yes.
What is the Palace of Holyroodhouse?
It's the King's residence, the royal residence in Scotland.
The monarchy of Scotland's residence.
It's where
Good
it's
job.
at the bottom of the Royal Mile in Scotland and Edinburgh, the opposite end to Edinburgh Castle. And the King, he'll have just been there, I believe. He spends a week at the start of the summer there doing royal engagements in Scotland.
If this was Final Jeopardy, and the question was race name origins, how much of your pot would you have wagered on it?
Now, that's an American show, isn't it?
You don't play Jeopardy?
No. Oh, is it?
It's a quiz show.
Yeah. Does that mean, do I need to know the answer?
So what?
I would have a lot
So the
then.
Final Jeopardy is
Okay.
after you have all the money, okay? And it's Final Jeopardy. They show you the category, and
Yes.
then you wager part of your money, either everything, nothing, or something in between. And then after they do the answer, right? And then you do the question. And then after they show the result, then they show how much you've wagered.
I see.
Right?
So I would always gamble responsibly.
Okay, so if
And
you had
therefore-
$10,000 and
Yeah.
you were in the lead,
Yeah.
and then the category was race name origins.
Yep.
How much of that 10,000 would you wager?
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah. No, I'd get it. All of it. I did Wikipedia it though before you asked me. So basically,
I was going to let you be so smart.
Thank you.
It also says it right here in the media
It does.
guide.
It's all there for you. They basically spoon feed you everything you need to know, making us look semi-professional. Who do you like here?
I like the 12 in here. Realign. William Haggis.
Yep.
A 550,000 euro breeze up purchase. Has gotten better with every start.
And Wathnan.
And he has some speed, which I like.
Bang at the top of the market. Drawn in 9. That I thought that was a bad thing at the start of the day.
Not today.
Probably not. Yeah.
Not today. 5 furlongs might be a touch sharp for him, but he's got some speed. I mean, he's made all in his last race where he was a 5-length open winner. Blue Point, I feel like, is having a very good meet as a sire. So looking at him, if he can handle the turn back to 5.
Okay, going behind. There we are. There is the horse at the top of the market. I'm going to give Drestier a shout here. She's plenty sharp enough. She Murphy's obviously ridden 2 winners on the straight course already, and I think she'll just be tucked away in behind the pace. I just hope they run in a straight line. Dear riders, please run in a straight line. It would appear there is no bias across the track. Please run in a straight line.
What about the one? Hammer the Hammer. 3
Great
straight. Right?
Great chance, yeah. I mean, top weight, it's not going to be easy, but really good form for Hammer the Hammer. There is the horse in shot there for Tom Eves and Kevin Ryan. Last race up now.
Great to have you with us at this spectacular venue for the finale to day 4. Hasn't had the fireworks of last year, but it has had Chris Gale again. Definitely my highlight. He is just so cool. Talks to anybody. Loves his racing. And will give anyone a photo. Top man. Right, fierce betting heat here, Brian.
Realign 7-2 favourite. William Haggis telling us that I think he is pretty smart. When Haggis says that, you stand up and listen attentively, and he's 7-2 favourite. Hammer the Hammer's 5-1. Look at Brighton Boy, that was 20-25-1. Number 26, trained by Andrew Balding and ridden by William Buick. When they team up, they're a formidable combination from 20-1 all the way down to 6-1. And I've also seen a significant each-way wager on Bodie Bear, number 10. Shamie Heffernan riding for Fozzie Stack. The Star Spangled Banner called Bodie Bear, a couple of grand each way at that. At 20-1, it's clipped into 16s.
And Andrew Balding's made it happen to winning the final race on the cards, and Brighton Boy being well backed here. Brighton Boy, Tony Bloom, had the winner of first race today, Albany, with Venetian Sun. Right, Megan Nichols, let's go out with the winner. You liked Amelot Canal last. Who do you like here? You can have 2.
I do see the Realign support. He was very impressive when getting off the mark in a maiden at Salisbury on his 3rd start, but he showed a lot more speed that day. I feel feel like he's the type of horse that's probably getting faster with racing and experience, and he showed that early speed that will be required here. Out of stall 9, maybe that is the right direction to be. And my other selection each way would be Red Orange, who won at Chester last time, showing good pace for Ross Ryan and Clive Cox. He got a £9 rise, but again, he's an improving sprinter, and he's got that natural early speed that will be needed.
Right, it's a big field. It's the end of the day. I'm going to give you a few more selections. You've given us 2. Give us a couple more, and then I'll get Jason.
Okay, well, look, I think the Realign is a fascinating runner, isn't it? Because he's got the real sexy profile coming in. Whether he'd be quick enough back down at 5, that's the question mark, and probably they're going to go real hard here. And Andrestia, I think that she is a fascinating runner down the bottom. Has already got a bit of form in at this particular venue as well.
Who should we hear from? Should we go to Ruby quickly?
Francesca, I give Bawdy Bear a great shout. Beat Town and Country at Cork. Town and Country, of course, won at Sandown last week for Henry de Bromhead in a Lister race. I think he's a cracking chance for Fozzie Stack.
Most of these horses loading pretty well. There's just 1 or 2 at the back jibbing. We're talking about Jason talking about this. It's going to be fast. Ruby's Prophet. Keep an eye out for her in stall 21. She's normally absolute lightning. So just 3 to go forward. You're just seeing in front of us Zaya going in. Over there, Stormy Impact is just having a look round. And the last to go is Mamlon. Let's see how they get on.
Moorlam then going into stall 3 on the far side for Jack Nicholls. 24 3-year-old sprinters in the Palace of Holyroodhouse Stakes. Split across the track, they're in the gate, and they're off. Sprinting over 5 furlongs. Brighton Boy not that fast away. Moorlam also missed the kick, and Miss Lamai was also slow to begin, but very fast early speed by Ruby's Prophet, who will lead up towards the near side with Mr. Lightside racing in second, and Hammer the Hammer is in third. Also Dark Cloud Rising not too far off the speed, and neither too in the early stages is Adorestia. Leading the centre group is Mia All, who is giving a lead to Bawdy Bear and also Realign, and over on the far side it is Lexington Blitz who has got the overall lead. To in second King of Bears, and after that one is also staying on Red Orange already inside the final furlong and a half. On the near side, Ruby's Prophet taken on by Hammer the Hammer, and the staying on Adorestia. Meanwhile, right over on the far side it is Red Orange who's got the lead to Lexington Blitz, and the racing now down towards the final half furlong, and it's Adorestia on the near side. Adorestia and Red Orange, these 2 with Hammer the Hammer in the centre. Adorestia and Asheen Murphy. Adorestia wins. Tight second, Hammer the Hammer and Red Orange. They were followed home by the deep closer Zaya, and Zaya finished alongside Jorge Alvarez, and reading right back to Brighton Boy, who was slowly away and never passed a rival. A 10-1 winner of the finale, and a punch of the air from Asheen Murphy as the Simon Ed Christmas train filly Adorestia wins by a length. I think we'll find Hammer the Hammer will be second. He flashed his usual early speed, but Adorestia travelled really strongly through this race and wins with a fair degree of authority. It is Hammer the Hammer second. Red Orange in third. Maybe near side in fourth. Zaya, who stayed on. Jorge Alvarez the dark green, and then Mia All, and after Mia All was Ruby's Prophet, and then towards the near side and never nearer King's Call. Number 23 is Adorestia. She came from stall 24. She'll go into the number 1 slot now.
Good week for KHK Racing. Great week for Asheen Murphy. He's about the only person who could possibly catch Ryan Moore. It's highly unlikely. Good to see him celebrating with the crowd again. Emphatic winner. Look for the black and yellow here, Jason. There was money for this horse this morning. Ollie Bell tipped him up with his £20 challenge on the opening show. An emphatic winner.
Excellent from Ollie, and just had to manoeuvre his way to get into a bit of clear sailing, if you like. So, but once he got that, I'm sure he was trying to keep a close eye on Red Orange over the far side. They're all sort of closing in, but a smooth challenge. She'd previously run really well in the Queen Mary here, so good for the Crisford team to get one on the board.
You fancied him? Did you back him?
No backing there, but we were with obviously Realign. But where was Realign, the red hot favourite? I'm looking for said runner for the Wathnan team, but it wasn't to be.
No, it wasn't, but the winning filly, Adrestia, she was quite slow away, looked a little bit rusty on return at Windsor, but has really taken a big step forward for that. She was much sharper throughout, travelled nicely for Oisin, and he did angle over towards the middle and actually came off of his sort of stand-side position from 24 and edged towards Hammer and Red Orange, who have both ran with huge credit.
You were saying about the Balding team rounding off. Well, it was half of the Balding team. Oisin gets one on the board.
For the Crisfords, well done to the father and son training combination. And Oisin Murphy really does play to the crowd, which is good.
And the irony here is, Ed, that at Windsor, Oisin was on the horse who stuffed Adrestia. Now they turn to the champion, and it makes all the difference. Well done, Ash.
Thanks, Matt. It was a great spot for her. The Crisford camp was very confident about her. I'm delighted for His Highness Sheikh Khalid and all his team in Bahrain. She had a good run, Matt, at Windsor, behind older horses. Back against her own age group, she was dominant.
The other thing is, of course, she's very lightly raced. She'll have more to come.
Yeah, she was probably a black type filly last year, but it didn't happen for her. And today she had her ideal conditions and gave me a nice easy ride.
And I've seen your 19th Royal Ascot success. You seem to really enjoy playing to the crowd, mixing it. You know, when Frankie Dettori hung up his boots in this country, everyone was saying, I wonder who will get the crowd going. Well, it's Oisin Murphy.
I'm trying hard, but I have a long way to go before I can repeat what Frankie did in his career.
Well, you're going the right way. Oisin Murphy, win number 19. No, 19.
Standing by. Here is Simon Crisford, his son Ed over there taking congratulations from all and sundry.
And he deserves it. But what a great filly. We fancied her big time. She came into the race off a really good mark. She ran so well at Windsor last time, and it was the only one we felt this week could win.
So you seemingly, because you're not someone, Simon, you keep your feet very firmly on the ground, but full of confidence today.
Yeah, 100%. We really fancied her. And I told everyone last night, I said to my son-in-law, Harry Charlton, I said, you want to get on, she's 16 to 1. And by the time he tried to get on, she was down to 7 to 1. So he missed the market. But
you missed my number, I think.
Well, I don't know, but look, she's a good filly, she's talented, she's quick, she's fast. And it's great for KHK Racing, Sheikh Khalid in Bahrain. He'll be watching, he can't come here, duty first, obviously. Yes. And he'll be loving every minute of it.
And what a ride. I mean, obviously made easy by how well she ran today, but were you ever worried about position of the track, considering the way races were run?
Well, I was fine until 20 minutes before the race, when Ed said to me, all the winners are coming from the other side of the track. And he said, we're screwed, because now the draw's changed, the position has changed. And I said, what will be, will be. But the filly's good. I knew she had 8-9 pounds in hand. Wow. So we all knew that. She's a talented filly.
Okay, and have you got something else in mind, Simon, or was this the plan and one you're going to enjoy every single moment of?
100%. I can't think of what's happening tomorrow, let alone what's happening in the future. But she was good today.
Sounds like what's going to happen tonight might be a bit of fun as well.
Well, probably not. Back home, a quiet night, and back to the races tomorrow.
Professional as always.
Thank you so much, Rishi. Thank you.
Well done, Ed.
Thank you, Rishi.
Yeah, well done to Simon and Ed Crisford. Their first Royal Ascot wins together. Simon had two previously in his own right. And Adrestia, as Simon said there, is a very smart filly, given a good ride by Oisin Murphy, and rounds off the day with Oisin smiling in the winner's enclosure. We've seen that sight plenty of times already this week, Ruby.
We most certainly have, and particularly on the straight track for Oisin Murphy. He's having a great run. But this race, pretty fair, Ollie, pretty straight. There was no real hard luck stories. Adrestia broke from 24, and whatever they've done with the track overnight, they've evened it up. We had a couple of low winners earlier in the day, but this race, jockeys decided to come pretty straight, and it was no real bias to the left or to the right. They just jumped and went. Oisin got into a beautiful position on Adrestia, who travelled really strongly for him, cruised along all the way. The one at the back in the middle in the white cap with the white sleeves, Shane Foley on King of Light. I'd say now, you see in a second, he was lucky there's no one behind him, because watch behind shoe fly off this, and the elevation it gets and the speed that it goes with as it flies up into the air. Thankfully there was no one behind him. Oisin only had to wait then till he could get the gap inside Mr. Lighthouse, and as soon as he does, he presses the button, and this filly by Havana Grey scoots away to win nicely. But there's no hard look stories. There's nobody across the track that couldn't get a run. There's nobody who could have been closer. It's just played out as it was. It was a pretty straightforward race, and the best horse has won.
Well, I'm catching up now with Chris Wall, who is representing KHK Racing, who've had a very good week, Chris. Simon was very confident before the race. Did he impart that confidence on you?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he was being very confident about her all week. She's been slow to come to hand in the spring, and we weren't able to race her till last week. And she went to Windsor, badly drawn, but ran well, warmed up nicely for this race. And he said she came out of that so well that she got to have a big chance. Yesterday we were thinking we got the best draw there was, but today, of course, it's all been low numbers, so the confidence waned a bit. But anyway, Oisin gave her a lovely ride, and she's won very nicely.
Chris, a couple of winners for KHK Racing. One, everyone's talking about the importance of Royal Ascot and being successful here. How important is this for the team?
I think that Sheikh Khalid puts a lot of store. They love coming to Ascot. Sadly, the situation in the Middle East has prevented him from coming over. But this is a be-all and end-all, really. If you have winners here, it doesn't matter if we don't do too much the rest of the season. So it's a big week for them. And we've had 4 runners here, 2 wins. Filly ran very well in the Queen Mary, and we were drawn out of it in the sprint yesterday. But no, we've had a good week. We can't complain.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's just give you confirmation then of the final result of this fabulous Friday here at Royal Ascot. Adressia wins at 10-1, Hammer the Hammer in second at 9-2. Third, Red Orange, 12-1, Zaya 16-1, and fifth, Jorge Alvarez at 25-1. 24 ran in the finale. Now a reminder that we will have our 5th and final.
Adressia takes out the last 10. That is our 7th final race of the day. Ali Vance has come back to join Michelle and I to just have a little wrap of the day. Have you enjoyed yourself today, Ali?
I certainly have, yeah. I've been out and about pretty much everywhere. I've been down to the bandstand making Royal Ascot blushes this morning. Those sort of
I noticed you didn't bring us one.
No, and did you get the champagne order? I mean, I had this amazing delivery of a Jeroboam of vintage champagne. I said, you must take that to the studio, and it didn't arrive.
No. Are you serious?
It got waylaid.
Obviously not. We did get some Whispering Angel.
Okay.
At least we got to sample a little bit of the extracurricular Royal Ascot activities.
You got lunch?
I got lunch.
Yeah.
I got a scallop.
You do enjoy
I loved it, by the way, Lisa, thank you. But yes, I do enjoy a scallop. I love
scallops.
Yep, slips down, very happy with that.
And you came back and you said 1 is enough, so I don't know why you're moaning.
Yeah, quite right. I'm not. It was fantastic.
I wanted one of Ali's drinks that she made, though. 9 shots of gin.
And then I heard that it was the most expensive gin that you can buy in the UK, and he said, yes, probably how much I poured all over the top of the surface. So, yeah, I'm not sure they'll have me back.
Well done if you found winners today. It wasn't as easy as it seemingly was yesterday with 5 winning favourites yesterday, just the 2 today. Seseni was a great surprise in the Coronation, and Zaragana, well, she came up to go and win a race, and it wasn't. But you spoke to Francis Graffard afterwards.
I did. Interesting, yeah. He just said that Mikel Barcelona said at one moment he had all this horse underneath him, and as soon as he sort of asked the question, basically, the horse just said, no thank you, nothing to do with the ground, no excuses, all in the mind, all in the brain, and she'll race on, but they said they're going to have to be very clever with her in the next few races, and then she'll be heading off to stud, obviously as a classic winning filly, so she's got another career to look forward to.
Looking for a much, I don't want to say smarter, but maybe a little more easygoing.
Straightforward stallion.
Yeah.
Well done to Joseph Murphy as well. Fantastic for him. A first Royal Ascot winner, Gary Carroll as well. They won't have come here expecting to win, Michelle. They'd have come here knowing that she had a sniff. It was a race where there were question marks about those at the top of the market, Falakea and Zaragana, but they couldn't have expected to step up like this. And she's resilient. She battled on.
She definitely did. She looked fantastic late there. Really wanted to get her neck down.
there are the winning connections. Shane Stafford, the owner there, and well, they'll be delighted with Sassedi, who took that. And then, well, Time for Sandals. Who knew that was going to happen? Flip Flop. Oh yes, sorry, just to confirm that.
Yes,
that's
the barn nickname. Flip Flop.
Brilliant. I think we're all Time for Sandals right now after 4 days of Royal Ascot. But it's been a lovely day seeing some of the smaller trainers. I mean, I know we've seen Harry Eustace in the winners' enclosure here already this week, but to see him win these Group 1s, and no win for Aidan O'Brien today, no win for John and Thady Gosden either. But yeah, Time for Sandals then under Richard Kingscote, Derby winning jockey.
Yeah, it was a race where they went slow. You know, I said whether or not She's Spicy blew it apart over the far side, but I'm not so sure that's the case. She's So Spicy. They didn't go that hard. Nothing really got into it, and then maybe that's an excuse for those that were held up near side.
Oh, I felt like she got into it for a minute. She just didn't last as long as you needed her to have pace for.
Let's have a look at winners today, then we'll confirm it for you for our 7 races on day 4. Venetian Sun 7-1 for Carl Burke. Time for Sandals. Ethical Dime was winning favourite Ryan Moore. Willie Mullins. Sasseni took the feature, the Coronation. Never Let Go, Amelot and Adrestia. Standings wise, where does that leave us? We've got Ryan Moore on 6 and Asheen Murphy on 4. Nothing with John or Aidan today, so they're both
Do
5
your
each
math
still.
now. How many thousands of pounds is heading to aftercare?
Well, it would be 6 times 5.
Yes.
So I'm going to say £30,000 for retreading of racehorses.
Good job.
Thank you for the test. But that's a great incentive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
5,000 for every Ryan Moore winner.
And a jockey like Ryan Moore, you're guaranteed at least to get a decent sum anyway. I mean, was he ever going to Royal Ascot without a winner in the last how many ever years?
You would be hoping for at least 6, I'd say. Somewhere between 6 and 10, the spread.
Isn't that amazing?
So, yeah.
At least 6. Imagine coming into Royal Ascot though with that expectation as a jockey. It's insane. But he rides for some very good trainers, and they're in fine form this week.
Really good international runners tomorrow, in particular in the feature, the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. You've got a Japanese runner in there, you've got 3 French in there over the 1200 metres, and well, plenty of Euros in that contest. That is the feature today. Chesham, Hardwick, Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee, Jersey, Wokingham, Golden Gates and Queen Alexandra, the traditional race that closes off the meeting. I'm just sad it's
I know,
the
I'm
last
sad
day.
it's already I feel like it just started, and then we hit Thursday and we're like midway, and now all of a sudden it's the last day.
Do you want to hear the really good news? Tomorrow, the heat wave steps up another notch. It's going to be even hotter tommow, isn't it?
Ali and I have different ideas of good news. I thought you were going to say you saw the champagne delivery, it's almost here, or...
We'll get some water for you, don't worry.
Well, I think we need to have a toast tomorrow anyway when we're saying goodbye with champagne. I feel like we should orchestrate that.
Okay, how about, we haven't had tea all week either.
Oh, afternoon tea. Yeah, we should also probably look at some horse racing.
Oh, but yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a good day tomorrow for the international runners, I think. The Japanese horse in the big one.
Really excited to see how that horse runs.
Yeah, I think it's possibly got the best form coming into the race. Ali, thank you ever so much. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Michelle, we'll have you back with us again tomorrow. Very much looking forward to it in the sunshine and the heat. I hope you've enjoyed all of our coverage on the 4th day of Royal Ascot. Winners weren't easy to find. We'll do it all again tomorrow with you on the final day. Bye-bye.
Racing's regional form experts know their tracks. They know the horses. They know the trainers. They know the riders. And they share that knowledge with you every day. Formline Extra, 7 days a week on Sky Thoroughbred Central.
It was a good week. Ali Mosley had an absolute ripper. 3 of her 4 selections saluting.
50 win Junquera, Lady Shenandoah 50 a win, and then I head to Eagle Thump, Age of Sail 50 a win.
Right, enjoy it in Queensland and fingers crossed. So a bit of a boring week from me. Island Deck can have 50.
And if you don't mind, that's a damn good tip by me.
Junquera's lunging. Little beginnings grabbed by Junquera.
Lady Shenandoah push right out and wins this around. Age of Sail on the outside. Breaks the lead. Age of Sail too good.
Island Deck's run up behind him. Island Deck diving. Oh, Island Deck's knocked them off.
Our feature race is the Guineas. How do you play it, Ali?
I'm going with my mate linebacker. I think third up, Zach Lloyd's aboard. I think the penny's really hopefully going to drop with him on the weekend. So I'm going to have a throw at the stumps there, 50 each way.
Linebacker still in front from broadsiding Swift Falcon. Linebacker wins the Guineas.
Well done, good tipping.
I'm loyal, Ben. That's my problem.
You
and
are.
Sometimes it pays off.
Hello everyone, welcome to Formline at Ron Davison. Brad Gray and Tim Ryan are here to look at this program.
Our experts are finding you winners.
I'm thinking he's one of the better bets of the day here.
From the featured meeting every Saturday.
I've gone Franz Joseph. You can follow him with confidence. He's so hard to chase down.
Helping punters get the winning edge.
6 metres Rose Hill, inside on pace. It's generally the rule, not the exception.
So join us every Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
Welcome to Formline Extra. We're looking at the big race meeting at Royal Randwick tomorrow, Civic Stakes Day. Everyone's sitting on the edge of the seat. We know that the Headley Grange is in the race. Will Rackett will Kimmy Rackett get a start in the race? We're going to look at the 4 legs of the quadrilla at Royal Randwick on the weekend. There's big racing all weekend on Sky Thoroughbred Central. Nick Burney's alongside me. Will Raikkonen be there when the starter says go tomorrow?
I think you could almost put it as one of the best bets on the day, Richie. I think it's an absolute good thing to get into the race. Bjorn Baker would be happy with me saying that, putting the mock on, but I think they get one more scratching. He only needs the one, surely. Surely gets a run on the meeting. I'm looking forward to it. We're almost going to be back to a good surface, can you believe it? Yeah. I think we'll stay on the 5, and it's winter, so there's always going to be that bit of sting out, which is good, but there's going to be some form reversals tomorrow.
100%, and a soft 5, good 4 at this time of the year is not the same as a good 4 on the 20th of December.
And there's a horse in the last which we can go over, where some might say it won't handle getting to a dry surface, but I think it will.
Ooh, we're currently on a soft 5, penetrometer bound 5.39. A lot of early scratchings in there early in the day, and a few horses duelled in the mile and the 1800, and they've decided where to go. A couple have gone to Queensland, a couple stayed at home. Nick, let's have a look at race number 7 on the card. The Asahi Super Dry. Are you an Asahi man?
Yeah, I don't mind one. I could, Asahi's go all right.
Yeah, that's about your go-to. I'm just a straight Tuies. See,
I thought you'd be like a Peroni type of guy.
Please. Tuies, mate. I've never heard of labels. I'm in the line camp. Don't get me wrong. Get along. It's currently favourite. It is. I was on it last start. I think Nash thought it was better out in the middle. It's $4. Storm the Ramparts $4.40. Who beat it? Lulamons at $5. High Dubai's at $6. Shall Be $10. Iron Will $13. And then we go to Lonrose Queen at 17. Poker Jack is at 23. Now the speed here is all drawn reasonably wide. I want to ask you. I think Get Along goes forward. Storm the Ramparts, Welcome Gypsy outside. I reckon they've got to. I think One Destiny punches up who's in between all of them. All I know is I haven't got Shall Be that close. I got it.
It takes a sit.
It takes a sit.
Yep.
Yeah. You and I both agree. I'd have it just in behind.
Especially with the claim.
Iron Will takes a set. Hide Your Buy takes a set. So I've got Get Along, and then it's what they do on One Destiny, Storm the Ramparts. You can't.
And Welcome Gypsy almost has to push forward as well.
It's got to. Otherwise, Otherwise, I just think it's back. It's got 53. I think they'll try to. It's going to be the first. Well, it's a 1,000-metre race. If they're not going quick, you want to know why.
That's right. And with the 1,000, the 1,200 metres, they probably might want to slightly be getting off the fence throughout the day. So it is forgiving coming out of that chute. So being 3 wide, no cover around the 1,000 metres at Randwick isn't that much of a disadvantage.
Let's have a look at a replay, Nick. This was their last time out, May 24. The horse on the inside is Storm the Ramparts, isn't it?
It's 2 back, yeah.
Yes, it's 2 back. Yeah, because I'm saying, hang on, where's my other horse? And then that's Hide You Buy outside it, and then Poker Jack back in behind them.
So this was the day the blinkers went back on Storm the Ramparts, heavy 9 surface, another well-rated ride there by Adam Hieronymus. So went out at a slow pace, accelerated off that. We're going to have a look at the replay, how he elevated again next start. I thought Hide You Buy, first up, was honest enough here. So getting back onto the dry surface, I do think is a plus. But Storm the Ramparts dictated, too good this day. And we're going to have a look at the next replay where he backed it up.
Yeah, and he goes up from his last start, he goes up 3 kilos. Get Along goes up a half, so he meets him 2.5 kilos better. Now, Nash was adamant it was going to be better out in the middle of the track. He stayed there on Get Along. Welcome Gypsy outside him. And Storm the Ramparts goes up inside.
Yeah, I thought Get Along was very brave.
Outstanding.
Very brave here.
Didn't help me, but it was outstanding.
It might help tomorrow, though, if you're going to back up. But I thought he was much better on the Sydney leg. Getting back onto the Sydney leg, led at a fast pace, tried his hardest to the line, and he gets a 2.5 kilo swing on Storm the Ramparts and a bit of a map advantage. So it's a complete reverse tomorrow. I think they should be further apart of the mark. I think Get Along should be clear favourite.
I know that it doesn't always work out that way, but if you do weights and measures, you do luck in running from where their barrier draws are. You can't help with 2.5 kilo turnaround, and the biggest difference in the barriers is that you've got One Destiny's drawn in between them. So therefore, you'd imagine it's got to do more work, and you've got Welcome Gypsy still outside it. Yeah, I agree. I think Get Along should be shorter. You got it on top?
Yeah, Get Along on top. I think was one of actually the better bets on the program. I'm pretty keen on Get Along, just with that weight swing, and even Storm the Ramparts going back onto a drier surface. I think he's best when it's on that soft 7 worth. So Get Along, good bet, and I'm going to throw in Lonrose Queen with all that speed to come down the outside maybe as a bit of one for a quadrella.
I'm with Get Along too, Nicky boy. I think it'll be awfully hard to beat. That's the first leg of the quadrella. The Asahi super dry handicap over the 1,000. Let's go to race 8, and this is a good field. This maximum of 16 runners. We've got a couple of earlies. One in the field, Little Contro, who was one of the players, comes out with the blinkers, so the market gets reshaped. Now this is Raikkonen. If it starts in this race, and I know there's not a lot of depth to it, there's no way in the world it starts $3 from the car park was 63, even with the 61. Fiddler's Green at 750. You probably think it starts shorter.
I think it's more suited in the main race.
Oh, so do I. That's what I mean. But if it starts here, I can't see it starting that short.
There's a lot of behind there that people are going to want to spec. With the Diamond Lil dry surface, Captain Amelia, there's a bit of a fan base. So even Woolawin, you've heard early money. So you're right. Wide draw, bit tricky. I think they would obviously rather be in the main race.
Well, they want to get in the main race. I'm not convinced it'll run here even because I know what Björn's trying to do. He's trying to get him up for when he turns 4 that we might see him in a Golden Eagle.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's what he thinks of him. Like he's run the other day in the Fred Best was if the race stayed at Eagle Farm, I'm convinced he wins.
Yeah, enormous.
His run was enormous. Here it is. Let's go. Well, let's go to it. Let's go to the replay. There's the speed. Uzziah, Diamond, Lil. They're clearly the quickest. I think Raikkonen will go forward from that gate if it runs in this race. It's a knockout. Remember, he's passed away, the great Billy J. Smith. I'm too old, you wouldn't remember. One of the greatest MCs I ever saw, Billy J. Smith. Aberlaw holds its spot in behind them, along with Code in Time. But here's Raikkonen. That's him out in the car park, second widest now with the orange coming around him. He was huge here.
And against the pattern as well. 4 wide, out in a limb around a track like Doom, and he just had no right to be in the finish there late. And you ever watch his finishing speed, he's holding it to the line, so he's well above 78 grade. The claim suits, I'm not too
concerned with the draw there. And even going back to that first up win at Gosford, you watch the replay, and when he changes legs and he wants to hit the line, he just
right.
And people might say they ran slow time, but they had last use of the track there, and if you adjust for it, they actually ran good time against the day.
Spot on the mark. I've heard that argument too about the slower time. That was the day at Gosford, the track we'd had a lot of rain, was shifty, and that's when you get the last race today. The service is nowhere near as clean as it should be earlier.
Yeah.
Here's the next replay. This is Woolowin running third. Super Bright was good. Captain Amelia and King Rattel.
I thought Woolowin was really good here. It's clearly ready to probably go back to its best this campaign. I thought Diamond Lil back to the dry surface. Karen McAvoy back on, who knows that horse so well. But I've got one here, Captain Amelia. This is another big improver back to the dry. So it was 35 days between runs here. Was wide early, loomed to do something, just peaked on the run. Can be a lot closer. Jason Colladon, I think, so over the odds. And will go on top if Raikkonen doesn't get a run.
If Raikkonen doesn't get a run, it goes on top.
Well, not if Raikkonen goes the other race.
If Raikkonen goes the other race. Yeah, I agree. I think it goes the other race. If it gets a start, I think they'll go to the feature race. And I don't think Bjorn will worry what they give it, because, as I said, he's trying to get, and you've got to get up to 100.
Yeah.
Close enough to it to run in a race like that. Here's Fiddler's Green. What do you make of Fiddler's Green going back in between, gets a run, squeezes through, good ride, Tommy Berry.
Well, at the 600, I just said you don't want to be on any other horse except for Fiddler's Green. And just here, you thought, is he going to do it being first up? But it was a game effort there. My only query here is the time of this race. I wanted to be slightly against. Obviously, Wednesday grade, now it coming to Saturday. So I had to take a set somewhere, and that's the race I want to take on.
You want to take that on?
Yep.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. What about It's a Knockout? It's a Knockout, which is, of course, Kieran Maher, Braithnot, who is riding in outstanding form. This is a barrier trial at Kembla the other day and trialled nicely.
Really nicely, and it's clearly a fresh horse as well. It's a knockout. So I went back to the last prep, and
in this trial, Kalos runs third in the trial. Kalos, the Godolphin horse. It trialled like a bomb at Rose Hill this morning.
Yeah, okay. So one for the Black
Book? Yeah, it trialled like a bomb this morning, and that's it there, running third. It's a knockout in front of it.
Yeah, it's a knockout. It's going really well, and you can tie it in with a horse like Dark Glitter. How good's Dark Glitter going?
What a good horse for Mikey Van Gestel.
So I was looking elsewhere, but it wouldn't surprise me fresh. It's going to probably run one of its best races.
So you're with?
I'm Raikkonen. If he does get a run, have to be with him. If he doesn't, Captain Amelia, I think he's over the odds.
I've got my tips on today's tips tomorrow.
Oh.
I've got to start. I'm tipping Captain Amelia.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I think it's great odds.
It is good odds.
Suck draw.
Nice, close.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
It'll be a lot closer.
Yep.
Just suck up and behind them. That's races 7 and 8. We're going to take a break with Form Line Extra. We're looking at the 4 legs of the quadrilla at Royal Randwick. Pacific Stakes, the feature. It's up next.
It was a good week. Ali Mosley had an absolute ripper. 3 of her 4 selections saluting.
50 win Junquera, Lady Shenandoah 50 a win, and then I head to Eagle Farm for Age of Sail 50 a win.
Right, enjoy it in Queensland and fingers crossed. So a bit of a boring week from me. Island Deck can have 50.
And if you don't mind, that's a damn good tip by me.
Junquera's lunging. Little beginnings grabbed by Junquera.
Lady Shenandoah push right out and wins this around. Age of Sail on the outside, breaks the lead. Age of Sail, too good.
Island Deck's run up behind them. Island Deck diving. Oh, Island Deck's knocked them off.
Our feature race is the Guineas. How do you play it, Ali?
I'm going with my mate linebacker. I think third up, Zach Lloyd's aboard. I think the penny's really hopefully going to drop with him on the weekend. So I'm going to have a throw at the stumps there, 50 each way.
Linebacker still in front from broadsiding Swift Falcon. Linebacker wins the Guineas.
Well done, good tipping.
I'm loyal, Ben. That's my problem.
You
and
are.
Sometimes it pays off.
Sky Racing's regional form experts know their tracks.